Welcome to DAX Machina, with your hosts, Naomi Finn, Steve Wildman Munrotis, and D.A. Roberts. Join us as we explore writing, books, authors, and all things horror. We will delve into the sightings, reports, encounters, and tales of monsters. We will also explore the writings of D.A. Roberts along with others in the horror genre. We will investigate the possibilities that monsters may not be safely locked away in the pages of books. They might just walk among us even now. Grab some popcorn and lock the doors. It's going to be a creepy journey. Welcome to DAX Machina.
Good evening, folks, and thank you for joining us here on DAX Machina tonight. Joining us in the studio is, as usual, my partners in crime, Steve Wildman Munrotis and Naomi Finn. Nick Valente is sitting in tonight, and our guest of honor tonight is the one and only Ken Gerhard. Ken comes to us tonight bringing tidings of cryptids and sightings galore, and I think we're really going to enjoy this show tonight, folks. Ken, I really appreciate you joining us tonight, sir. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, thank you guys for having me on. It's definitely an honor and a pleasure to be here with you all this evening. Looking forward to it. Thanks to everyone who listened in. My name is Ken Gerhard. I'm living in San Antonio, Texas. I'm honored to be a widely recognized cryptozoologist, which means that for years I've been investigating alleged evidence of unknown animals and weird creatures, legendary beasts, and yeah, I've authored some books on the subject, and I like to travel around the country and do lectures. And I've gotten lucky and gotten on some TV shows, and I think my favorite part is I get to work with some really outstanding individuals around the country. There are a lot of really amazing people that are investigating cryptids and cryptozoology, and I enjoy the camaraderie, of working with some of these other researchers that are very passionate.
Well, we are certainly happy to have you. I've seen you on a lot of shows. You've certainly been there and done that, and probably have a closet full of T-shirts. Plus, your books are fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
I love your books. I appreciate the ones that you sent to me. We're going to be giving one of those away later in the program, and the Menagerie of Mysterious Beasts. And I'm going to have to get another copy of that just for myself. I don't have all of your books yet, but I'm working on it. That's going to happen.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Not a problem. They're good reads. I enjoy them.
Yeah, I have the Menagerie of Mysterious Beasts and Monsters of Texas. I was really interested in that one to read about.
Thanks, Nick.
I chat often with Josh Turner about things that go on in Texas, and I'm telling you, as soon as I saw that on Amazon, I snatched it right up. Really nice looking cover you have on that one too, there, Ken. That's excellent. My God.
Well, thank you.
You talk about the Thunderbirds in that one, especially. I mean, it's just that's an amazing book. Anybody who doesn't have that book, Monsters of Texas, you got to pick it up, guys. You really do.
Well, thank you. And I got to mention that that book was co-authored with my good friend Nick Redfern.
Nick Redfern, right.
He's written a number of great books on cryptids and UFOs and conspiracies and all types of things. And he's very prolific. I think he's written like 50 books now or something. So,
wow. Nick Redfern is something. He is just a writing machine, man. I'll tell you. Yeah. But very entertaining. And he does a lot of field work too, from what I see.
Yeah, he does. He and I have been on some expeditions. For that book, we went on a few expeditions together, like the Lake Worth monster, also known as the Lake Worth goat man. We looked into that. And a few others, and then there were others that we kind of did into. He's up in Arlington, near Dallas, so he's about 4 hours north of me, and so I've got South Texas covered, and he kind of covers the north part of the state. And of course, Lyle Blackburn lives up there too, Craig Woolheater, and a lot of and Josh in Austin, so that there are a lot of us here in Texas that are investigating these things.
Got our first super chat of the night. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it, brother. Oh, and another one from Patty Figueroa. Thank you all. Appreciate you guys.
Patty, yeah. Ken, what part of Texas you think has the most activity at this point? A bunch of years?
That's a good question, Nick. Now, I actually have a map. So I'll peek over here. I have a map of Texas on my wall. Unfortunately, it's just out of range, but I've got different pins representing Bigfoot, Big Bird, chupacabras, lake monsters, and all kinds of things. And, actually, I have to say that one area is called the Big Thicket, or far east, southeast Texas, which is as its name would imply, it's just this impassable swamp of thick piney brush, and the Native Americans didn't even go in there, and because it was so dangerous. So there seemed to be a lot of Bigfoot and also Thunderbird and other types of sightings that come out of there. And then here where I live in San Antonio, I had to peek at the map again. We don't have a lot of Bigfoot reports. There are some, but we do have lots of the Thunderbird sightings, kind of in the ground zero for that. We've had weird canids called chupacabras that have turned up around the area. Those aren't really cryptids anymore, but they're kind of an interesting mystery. And of course, Josh is, as you know, he's mentioned and documented a lot of Bigfoot and Dogman reports kind of up near Austin and out some of the outer areas of Austin, kind of there to the Hill Country and stuff. So yeah, we've got, but as far as most cryptids, I think the eastern part of the state, which is where you have kind of the dense wilderness habitat areas, obviously as you travel into the majority of Texas in the west and northwest, a lot of that is just farmland and desert and scrub, and the population density is much lower. And we have to also acknowledge, in terms of documenting encounters, a lot of it is obviously going to be tied to the people that are there to see those things. So where you have more people, you're probably going to have more sightings. If particularly if it's kind of in a rural area. Areas can be, you guys know, and then some are just unpopulated and vast and stuff. So
Ken, it's interesting that you keep mentioning the chupacabra sightings. I think the first time I had any experience with you as a cryptozoologist, I'm a big Science Channel nerd, and I think I was watching an episode of Monster Quest or something. Maybe it was on History, and you had been called out to a ranch where they had a physical specimen, and you guys had done some kind of a DNA analysis on it. And I know from reading, a lot of these come back as being known canids that are just mangy or something like that. And you had several come back that was just they could determine it was a canid, but it was a as yet specified species. Does that officially pull them off of the cryptid menu then, or are they now considered something else?
Yeah, I wouldn't consider them. Great questions, by the way, Steve, and comments. And coincidentally, I'm actually I just realized I'm wearing I'd rather be hunting the chupacabra in Cuero, Texas t-shirt, which the lady, Phyllis Canyon's the lady that has the mounted chupacabra in her bedroom. She's had 2 specimens that she's found near her property. I'm aware of several DNA tests that have been done. I've examined the remains of a half dozen of these so-called chupacabras. They were obviously canids. As soon as you saw the physiology and the dentition teeth, you could say, okay, that's a canid. The DNA tests have been varied. Phyllis Canyon specimens have come back as a hybrid between a coyote and a wolf.
Yeah.
But one of the DNA tests that she paid for, I think it was University of California, Berkeley, she showed me how it was not an exact match for Canis latrans or a coyote. It was a little bit off kilter, and that might be the wolf DNA kind of getting in the picture there. Some have been domestic dogs, just feral wild dogs that were, but again, domestic dogs, Canis familiaris, Canis latrans, Canis lupus, they're all very close genetically. So a dog is a dog when you're talking about that. But yeah, the mystery is, why do they look so weird? The ones I've examined are mostly hairless, but not in a mangy way where you have patches of hair that are remaining. It's usually a pretty uniform hairless, and the skin is usually kind of a dark bluish gray color and very tough, like an elephant's hide, but not a lot of scabbing and stuff. So for that reason, a lot of cryptozoologists have begun to call these animals the Texas blue dogs. because we know they're dogs and they have a bluish color. Mange might be a factor. Sarcoptic mange is a disease that causes dogs' hair to fall out. But the animals I've examined also all had really weird dentition, like undeveloped incisors or weird overextended canine teeth, or some of them had disproportionate limbs, growths on their bodies, like big lumps on the. So, I think we have to consider the possibility that there could be something genetic going on there too. Not to sound too sci-fi, but like kind of a mutation or, just evolution, happening at a very rapid pace. There might be different influences like pollution, or, there's theories that maybe hairless dog breeds like cholos have gotten out into the coyote population and interbred. So, but they're no longer cryptids. They're just really interesting, weird animals. They're becoming very common. I finally saw one myself a couple of years ago one night on the side of the road near Corsicana, and people send me pictures all the time. They're on their properties. Here's another one of those things. Chupacabras, Texas blue dogs, whatever you call it. It's like, yeah, they're everywhere now. So
yeah, cryptids until you find them, I guess.
That's how they become known.
And I live here in Missouri, and when I was in college as an undergrad, I was going to school to be a microbiologist. We at that time, it was in the mid to late 90s. Officially, we didn't have mountain lions in Missouri, and one of my instructors was researching them, and he was trying to gather sightings, and everybody thought he was off his rocker and everything. Well, now they've officially accepted that there's mountain lions in Missouri, and people see them all the time.
Yeah.
It's just until you got enough evidence, they're not there.
Ken, I got a couple of questions for you from the audience. Alyssa Khan says, what do the thunderbirds there look like?
Well, it's interesting. There are actually two different delineations of sightings that I collect, and they seem to overlap in the same area, and I don't know what to make of that. It's very confusing, but some people describe a traditional Native American thunderbird, which is basically an accipiterid or raptor predatory type of bird with a hooked beak, usually solid dark feathers, black, charcoal gray or brown, fairly uniform coloring, and wingspans that are estimated to be anywhere from like 12 or 14 to 20 feet across, which is massive compared to like a condor or something. The other witnesses, and I've interviewed plenty of both, swear that what they saw was not a bird at all, but looked like a giant flying reptile known as a pterosaur, which, those supposedly went extinct 64 million years ago at the end of the Mesozoic era. But, due to convergent evolution, they looked like birds. They had wings. They had kind of beak-like rostrum, but they had teeth, many of them. Some of them didn't. They had leathery, it was more like a bat's wing, like a membrane that was stretched across their hand with this elongated pinky finger. So I don't know. I get both types of reports. It seems improbable to me that you could have even one, much less two species of giant unknown winged creatures flying around North America. So, some of it might be interpretation. So if these things do exist, they're probably very rare and live in remote areas of Mexico, or who knows and they just migrate around. But, maybe either they just look very prehistoric. They're birds and they look very prehistoric to people. So their mind kind of makes them think that it might be something like a pterosaur. Or maybe pterosaurs, if they could still exist, looked a lot more like birds than we realize. We know now that their bodies were covered in these primitive feather-like structures called pycnofibers, which were like proto-feathers. So they looked more bird-like than, you think when you watch Jurassic Park and some of that stuff, and they make them look very, reptilian and dragon-like. But so I don't know, but those are the two types of quote-unquote thunderbirds, although, again, technically one type is not even a bird. It's a flying reptile, but it's pretty weird.
Northwoods Cryptids asked, how long ago were the first chupacabra sighting reports found?
Are we talking about the worldwide or just Texas? I guess we'll say the first chupacabra that we first heard of was in the mid 1990s, 1995 to be exact, on the island nation of Puerto Rico, where there were these weird livestock killings that involved an unknown vampire-like beast. And then people began to report this goblin-like chupacabra that had giant eyes and was kind of small on two legs with spikes on its back and claws, and really scary, weird. But if you travel around, you get different types of chupacabras in different Latin countries. In Chile, it's said to have wings. In Mexico, there are other descriptions and things. So it's kind of become it's very confusing. But what I try to remind people is that in the Latino culture, chupacabra is like a boogeyman. It's like it's a broad term. It doesn't have to be a specific. It looks just like this. It could just mean, it basically drinks blood of other animals. That's the,
like a vampire beast.
Yeah. In Texas, the first one was actually shot just south of San Antonio in 2005, and that was first called the Elmendorf Beast, and then eventually people began to, because here in San Antonio, it's predominantly Mexican American cultures, so it was not long before it moved from Elmendorf Beast to Chupacabra. So
yeah. Owissa Khan also wanted to know, could they be a cross mutation? Meaning the chupacabras.
Well, again, it could be a cross mutation. It could be genetics. Mutations are caused by genetics, of course, and there could certainly be like one of the things that happened when these dogs started showing up, these Texas blue dogs, is I was invited up to a breeder up near Austin, Texas, that breeds these hairless dogs called Peruvia Inca orchids. And, they're born mostly without hair except a little mohawk here on top. They're really cute. But their skin is very similar to the Texas blue dogs, but it's, usually like browner color. And they have strange teeth too, due to the genetics of this breed, these Peruvia Inca orchids. They have what's called scissor mouth. So they don't have a typical canine looking mouth. It's kind of scary looking. So yeah, that could be a mutation if something like that got, again, breeding with wild coyotes, or there's pollution, and pollution can cause. There are things called mutagens that are released into the atmosphere by different byproducts, and those can alter the genetic cellular structure of different animal species and cause weird things to happen. So yeah, who knows?
I have a question I've been wanting to ask you. I watched you on Missing in Alaska and stuff like that. What is your single most terrifying cryptid experience?
Well, I think this is well documented. In my book, The Essential Guide to Bigfoot, I write about it. But, I haven't had a lot of up-close terrifying experiences. Maybe fortunately, maybe unfortunately, I guess, depending on how you look at it. But I am convinced I've heard Bigfoot vocalizations on a few occasions. Excuse me. Mostly in Texas, Louisiana, and maybe one or two other states. But on one occasion in particular, which was August 18th, 2003, I was at a place called Cottonwood Lake in North Texas with other Bigfoot researchers. It was a remote area where we'd heard there had recently been sightings of a Bigfoot. And we heard and recorded these deep, loud grunting noises coming out of the brush. We couldn't see what was making them, but all of us present there were like lifelong outdoorsmen that had grown up in Texas, so we knew every animal vocalization, or even some weird ones. And this was like, what is that? And to me, it sounded like an ape. If you went to if you spent a lot of time around higher primates and heard they have a variety of vocalizations, but I think the main thing is it was very powerful, like the lung capacity, very deep and resonant, kind of like a howler monkey or a gorilla. And, we found some other evidence. We didn't see this thing. We tried to flush it out, but we couldn't do that. And we went up to a higher vantage point and we shined a spotlight, and we thought we saw some eye shine, kind of yellowish green, but we weren't 100% sure we could associate it. But it was like, it seemed high off the ground. And then throughout the course of that night, we heard these kind of wailing noises that were typical Sasquatch howls and moans. And then the following morning, we finally made our way to where we'd heard this thing. And originally, we cut our way through the brush, and we found some very deep human-like footprints and a number of turtles that had been killed and literally ripped in half from top to bottom. So the shells were all like torn in half. And these are like, map turtles and red-eared sliders that are like, so trying to get this, not small things. So anyways, all of that to me was like the craziest thing that I'd ever experienced in one night, where I really thought, wow, there's got to be something to this, because I can't think of any other explanation for all of the vocalizations and the other evidence we found. So
what kind of investigations have you done on the Dogman?
Well, admittedly, I haven't done as much on the Dogman as other researchers like Nick and Josh and Jody Cook and Linda Godfrey and other people that I feel like for years, it's been covered pretty well by a lot of people that are dedicated to that phenomenon. I did investigate the Beast of Bray Road maybe 20 years ago when I was in Wisconsin. Didn't connect with anyone at that time in terms of Linda Godfrey or anyone else, but I was basically just went up there like a lot of people do and found the road and one night and just kind of walked up and down the road and just checked it out. I've investigated a creature that was called a werewolf in Texas, a couple, one in Vidor, Texas, that supposedly was howling like a wolf and ripping people's screens on the outside of their house, killed some of their dogs. Another one is more of a legend. It's up outside of San Antonio. It's called the Converse Werewolf. And then there's also an old Dogman story from 1972 that occurred in Defiance, Ohio. And basically there was, on a few different nights there was what was described as like a 7-foot tall, dog-headed, shaggy creature running around with a 2x4 or a piece of wood, and it attacks some railroad workers and stuff. And it was kind of in all the newspapers. And probably my biggest contribution to the Dogman field is that I organized in 2016 the first and only Dogman conference, which was the Dogman Symposium in Defiance, and invited several researchers, and about 165 people showed up, and we just talked about Dogman all day. And so I'd like to see more conferences like that, where people from across the country kind of come together and exchange their evidence and their ideas. I think that would be constructive.
I agree. I think that would be a great thing to do. Well, there was something else I was going to ask you. If anybody else has got any questions, jump in. But my question just like smoke.
Well, while you're thinking about it, DA, I just wanted to let Ken know that DA, myself, Josh Turner, we're going to try to include you and, of course, and Nick Redfern and Nunley, and several others. We'd like to get something going in reference to a cryptid convention, more so, not just a specific one. We would really love to get something like that going. And Josh is really serious. And if you know anything about Josh Turner, when the guy puts his mind to something, he does it. So
yeah,
it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Well, that's great, Nick. Hopefully that something like that would happen. We need more of those types of events to, again, just bring people together. So
yeah, I can imagine though. I mean, having all of us there at a giant convention like that should go over really big.
Fantastic. Well, count me in for sure.
You're on the list. We got you. DA, did you remember?
No, not yet. We did get a question for Ken out of the audience. Says, Ken, what do you think the cryptid is that's around Longview, Texas area?
Well, around Longview is, it's mostly Bigfoot sightings. There's a famous case that goes back to 1965, I believe, that involved a young boy named Johnny Maples, who claimed that he was out walking, I think he was fishing, and then something began to throw rocks at him, and he thought it was his friends playing the trick on him at first, and he threw a rock back, and then this Bigfoot creature stepped out of the brush and ultimately chased him home. How would he outrun a Bigfoot, would you say? Well, this is an interesting side note. I've heard many accounts of people being chased by Bigfoots, even though Bigfoots allegedly can move faster than people can really believe. Bigfoot doesn't seem to ever really want to catch anybody. It's just like, it's almost like a territorial display where it chases people out of its area, but it doesn't actually physically attack them. In fact, people have run out of breath running away from Bigfoot and just, said, I give up, F it. And then they turn around and the Bigfoot stops too. And then when they start running again, the Bigfoot starts again. So anyways, so I actually tracked down Johnny Maples a few years ago, which was a pretty big deal in Texas because everyone in here has heard of that account from the 60s. And I didn't speak to Johnny himself, but I spoke to his wife. I said, is this the wife of the Johnny Maples that got chased by Bigfoot? And she said, yes, it is. And I said, would John, I guess he's John now, not John anymore. He's, in his 70s or 80s. Would he talk to me? And she said, no, he doesn't like to talk about that anymore. So, I mean, that actually happens. I've encountered that a lot where people that have had experiences, and I guess they just get tired of all the ridicule and stuff throughout the course of their lives and being associated with that. Anyways, I digress. I wanted to add one last thing. And, you guys can kind of comment on it. You probably have more experience with the Dogman phenomenon than I do. But, I view the Dogman phenomenon very similar in terms of like the Mothman winged humanoid phenomenon, which I've written a book about and investigated at length. There are a lot of similarities in terms of you're talking about creatures that are biologically impossible, that do not behave like any natural animal in terms of their hyperaggression, and they have other residual weird paranormal aspects, weird lights and sounds and attachments and things that, to me, I think I don't know what you guys think about this, but potentially the two phenomenon are one and the same. And you're basically have some type of metaphysical thing going on where you've got these physical manifestations of these half man, half animal creatures, and they seem to be drawn to people or feed off of fear. It's almost like they want to terrorize people. And but I don't know. I mean, I really think the phenomenon is valid, and it's there are people that are experiencing it, but it's just totally beyond our comprehension in terms of what's going on there.
I think Dogman is a more physical creature. And that's just my opinion based on my reading and limited knowledge of the subject. But I think it's more of a physical creature because there are sightings dating back for centuries. I mean, if around the LBL area, the French trappers that were in the area in the 1600s were talking about dog-headed creatures. There's mention of dog-headed creatures in the Bible. Marco Polo and Christopher Columbus both talked about seeing dog-headed creatures. Cynocephaly has been around for a long time. I mean, even the god Anubis was depicted as having a head like a jackal or a dog.
Exactly.
I've got a kind of a weird theory on it. I think the Dogman might be the direct genetic descendant of the dire wolf.
Who learned how to walk on 2 feet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ken, my idea of it is, I mean, after researching Dogman now for, I guess since 2013, I think it is physical. However, due to research that I've done and the people I've spoken to over the past 5 years in particular, I don't want to throw out that it could be alien influenced or possibly dimensional, like portals type of being. Maybe they're coming in and out because there's just too many strange occurrences where people have seen the Dogman and then it's disappeared just instantly right in front of their eyes.
Right.
I don't know. I'm leaning toward the portal thing and maybe towards alien because a lot of the cases and the people I've spoken to face or on the phone, they all said that there was a light orb in the sky before and after they had the encounter with the Dogman or a Bigfoot. So, I mean, I have to say that study that I did included Dogman and Bigfoot, not just Dogman.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I want to think outside the box, and I don't want to be, closed-minded. There's a lot of tunnels in throughout the United States underneath the USA, especially in Tennessee and in Kentucky. They could be living down there, but my gosh, I mean, the hide and seek champion Sasquatch, you can't see him. Well, why? Possibly he's beamed up, or possibly he goes through a dimensional portal and then pops back in later.
I don't know if we need to go that far to explain it. I deer hunted with a buddy of mine that was a former Army Ranger, and that guy could disappear right in front of your eyes. He could just be gone. Look away for a second, and you'd never know where the guy went. And he wasn't born in the wilderness, knowing that humans can be dangerous. You know, a creature that grew up knowing that humans would possibly hunt it if it revealed its existence is going to be damn hard to find. Knowing natural camouflage and being the master of your environment, it's quite easy to disappear. And I hate to use a movie as an example, but the last scene in the movie Harry and the Hendersons, when the Bigfoot just kind of suddenly appeared, that was not special effects. They had people just stand by the trees in costumes and not move until they were walking away. And these are just actors in hairy suits that blended into the surrounding. So what do you think a large, intelligent primate that doesn't want to be seen is going to do?
Well, you see, that's in the woods now, DA. I'm talking about a lot of cases, and I don't know, Ken, if you've ever had these type of cases where they followed footprints of Bigfoot, supposedly Bigfoot, into a field, and there's no forest area around, within 100 feet or 150 feet. I mean, either he can jump like the Hulk or something has happened at that point, where the footprints just disappear right there in the middle of a field. I don't know. That's not trying to camouflage or hide yourself. That's plain old simply disappearing.
Unless it's smart enough to walk back on its tracks.
Yeah, but the dermal ridges, he couldn't do that. Couldn't match them up perfectly. No way. In a couple of cases I've read about, they actually took those footprints and tried to see if there were any prints over the top of them, and they weren't. So, I don't know. There's just so much out there. Like the big term, high strangeness. Yeah, it sure is strange.
Very true.
Yeah, those are fair points, all. Yeah.
So, Ken, do you think as technology improves that ultimately we will get some more tangible visual evidence of some of these creatures? As we're getting better phones and things like this?
Theoretically, yes, but I mean, we've had better phones or better cameras and more cameras and everything in recent years, and it doesn't seem to have made a huge difference. Admittedly, I'm not a huge advocate of a lot of the alleged photographic evidence that's out there. I mean, to me, it's, I try to come at this thing as scientifically as possible, and no photographic evidence will ever be a conclusive evidence of a unknown species, unless it was something like a frog, or like a bird. Right. You're like, okay, I got a picture of this bird, but no, something like a Bigfoot or Dogman. I mean, let's face it, all the photographs, we've all heard the jokes about the the blurry photos and the red circles and all that. That's a thing.
Right.
But also, if a photograph is too good, now it's like, oh, Photoshop, CGI.
Right.
So it's like there's no. I mean, maybe multiple camera angles on the same subject. That's something I brought.
Right.
Like 2 or 3 people photograph the same thing from different angles at the same time. And, so yeah, technology is great. I think drones, thermal imaging, a lot of these better night vision, a lot of this stuff is going to be helpful. But ultimately, I think the really important technology is environmental DNA or eDNA, where we can now literally take a sample of dirt or water or even air and dissect the biological material and basically sequence whatever species use that, that environmental stuff, within a couple of weeks. So, I mean, eventually now DNA is a very complicated thing, and you have to have primers and base things in the, so I mean, if you have an unknown species, it's not going to be real easy to tell right away. Oh, that's Dogman DNA. It's not going to happen like that. It's going to be
nothing to match it to.
It'll be a process. Yeah. So, but I think that's a really solid technology in terms of, because DNA is irrefutable. And if you can get guys in, that know what they're doing to actually properly sequence and then use the scientific process to properly match it, at least within a certain paradigm or family of species, that could be a game changer. But so I try to be optimistic, but I'm not in on a lot of the photographic. I carry a camera with me, but I used to do trail cameras and night vision and all that stuff. I have all the friends that are getting a FLIR now, and I'm just like, I don't know if this is going to take me where I want to be, which is conclusive evidence, which I think ultimately is going to be like a bone, tooth, or maybe blood, DNA, hair, something like that. That is just. So I don't know, but I encourage people to to utilize whatever technology that they feel is going to get them where they want to be in terms of their research.
Sure. Well, I was just watching something yesterday, and I honestly, I worked nights and I got off of work in the morning. I was just kind of brain dead watching television, and somebody recorded some video evidence, from a cell phone, a fairly nice cell phone, of somewhere in swampland in Mississippi, and they basically have captured a short video of what we would probably call a skunk ape, and it was it had its back to them, and it was just tearing the hell out of this cypress tree, and the commentator was talking about how heavy a wood the cypress is, and it's not the kind of thing that a man is just going to tear apart that easily barehanded, and the thing ended up standing up, and it turned and looked at the camera operator. And of course, at that point, he did like any of us would do, and he ran like hell. And it occurred to me, I'm like, well, the reason regardless of the technology, you're not going to get a good photo of this stuff because we're going to react like that. I grew up in the woods. I'm an Eagle Scout. I'm not scared of a whole lot. But, if I see an 8-foot primate and it's looking at me, knowing what I know about chimps and gorillas and stuff, I'm going to be going as fat as my fat ass will move to get away from this thing, because, I can't take it. A human that size, you wouldn't be able to take in a fight, and what he did record was very clear up until the point when it looked at him, and, then everything went wonky.
You may be great, Steve, if I could just tag something on the end of that. So it's still controversial 50 some years later, but the Patterson-Gimlin footage of the Bigfoot is probably the most convincing footage that anyone's produced at this point. Why did he get that footage? They'd be like, well, how come Patterson in 67 was able? Let me tell you something about Roger Patterson. The guy was obsessed with Bigfoot, okay? When he saw Bigfoot and he was on horseback with Bob Gimlin, and the horses were allegedly freaking out. He had prepared himself by having a 16 millimeter camera positioned in his saddlebag with the strap undone like a quick draw. So he had actually had the camera ready with the lens cap off. He was a rodeo cowboy, so when his horse freaked out, he didn't, fall off. But he pulled the camera out, and think about this, guys. He ran directly at a 7-foot, 500-pound unknown hominid, directly at it as fast as he could while he was filming it. I doubt there are a lot of researchers in that moment that would really be able to follow through with that. And that's one of the reasons I think, even though it's not the best footage, and it's one of those things all these years later we're still stabilizing it and stuff, but Patterson was a badass, and he doesn't get a lot of credit for how much guts he had to actually be prepared for that situation and take advantage of the situation when it unfolded. So that was I think that's to your point, Steve.
Yeah, testicular fortitude.
Definitely, where he was concerned, the follow through was the amazing part, because a lot of people come prepared, but the shock prevents the follow through.
Exactly.
If I saw one, I don't know that I could find the camera function on my phone.
I'm pretty sure I couldn't find the functions in my body at that point, So for him to be able to pull the camera and operate it, and I'm of the camp that it is actual footage. I don't believe it may be controversial to some people, but I'm solid with it.
I agree.
No, I totally agree also.
Had a question from, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. It says, question, Mr. Roberts, any more books coming out in the Wild Hunt series coming out soon? I've read all of your series, even the Lily one. Great job on all. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Lakeview Man 3 should be done hopefully this month. That's the plan. And there'll be more coming out beyond that. I've got a sci-fi and a fantasy project to finish. And then I have the next book in the Apex Predator, and then the next Codename Wild Hunt, which will be called Codename Wild Hunt Death and Dyatlov Pass. So look for that somewhere around the first of the year.
Get your Wild Hunt t-shirt or hoodie. There you go.
Guys, I need to take I need to take 10 seconds, okay?
Not a problem, sir.
Are we ready?
No worries.
He can take 10 seconds while I shamelessly advertise this shirt.
Much appreciated, Nick.
I'm going to tell you something though. A lot of hoodies out there. This is a hoodie. They're really flimsy. This one is top notch, nice and cozy, nice and warm.
Nick, I'll let you take this one. Busy A says, question for everyone: who wins a fight, Alpha Dogman or Alpha Bigfoot?
Oh my gosh! I mean, Dogman has the advantage of speed and claws, and Alpha Bigfoot has got the advantage of size and human strength. Wow, that's whoever gets the first shot in. I think will probably have that as a winner.
I think it would come down to who struck first. Sal Passos has a question for Ken. He says, have you ever experienced any supernatural events with your cryptid sightings, such as floating orbs or mind speak?
Nothing that I would associate. No, I haven't. I've experienced some paranormal type things on just tagging along on ghost hunts with people. Not a lot, but just, things that I thought, okay, that was crazy and weird. But I do tell people the story. I don't associate the two, but I was investigating Bigfoot sightings in Ohio at a place called Charles Mill Lake back in, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. And I saw a UFO. Me and this other researcher saw this thing. It was like the classic, what we hear, the black triangle, this giant black thing with lights along the edges. And it was totally quiet. And it just kind of floated over our heads, and we didn't have the right kind of cameras to take. We weren't expected to take pictures of things in the sky, so we tried. But so I'm not saying it was extraterrestrial. I mean, maybe it was. Who knows? It was unidentified. I don't know what it was, but it was just interesting that I was out there looking for Bigfoot and I saw a UFO instead. But I don't necessarily associate the two. I just think that when you go out in the woods, a lot of people don't go out in the woods all night and stand out in the dark in the middle of the woods. There's a lot of weird things that go on out there. Doesn't mean they're all connected, but if you go out in the woods enough at night, you'll see probably UFOs and other weird things that you can't explain. And, but I don't know if there's a lot of evidence that it's just, that's what's going on out there, so.
DA and Steve had a UFO sighting in their town this week.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
There was one sighted by many people here in Springfield.
Yeah, it was the Borg cube, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, it had a lot of lights on it.
What they were describing it as, it was a cube, kind of a metallic cube that's well lit up, and it was orbiting on an axis. And it was funny to reading some of the comments. It's like, oh, it's the TARDIS, And I would have liked to have seen it live. It would have been very interesting to me. But,
yeah, the video is kind of cool. Smedley Do Right wants to know, can Dogman and Bigfoot breed with each other?
Well, this goes back to that same discussion we were having, and I think everyone made some goody strong arguments. I mean, we really don't know what's going on here. I think, in my experience with Bigfoot, and I've been investigating Bigfoot for like nearly half a century, and I don't really get that many weird. I mean, it's true, there is a percentage of those sightings and experiences where the tracks stop, where the things, orbs or mind speak. But in the big picture of evidence and data, it's such a minuscule percentage of what people are reporting to me, at least, which is just it crossed the road, it stepped behind a tree, So I don't know if there's there could be something that looks like Bigfoot that's going on that is creating this paranormal stuff, but I don't. So I see Bigfoot. And the other thing, going back to what you're talking about, Dogman's been around a long time. Yes, I agree with you made a lot of good points in terms of the historical traditions and things around the world of these dog-headed man-like creatures. But just because people have been reporting these things doesn't mean that it's a physical thing. It just means that the phenomenon's been going on for a long time, right? Or another way to look at it is, in terms of Bigfoot, what we can say about Bigfoot is that there's a layer of evidence in terms of the fossil record. There are species that basically look just like Bigfoots. We have their fossils, the Australopithecines, Paranthropus, Homo heidelbergensis. I mean, these things were basically like Bigfoot-like creatures, and we have fossils that they existed. Why is there no fossil record of the Dogman or anything in the fossil record that even shows a transitional phase or something leading up to a Dogman? So That's the scientific argument in terms of why it's not. So, again, something can be physical without being flesh and blood, I think. It can have a physical presence. It can leave footprints. It can scratch people or break a car window, but that doesn't mean that it evolved on our planet in the natural process of evolution. Like maybe Nick said, like people say interdimensional or extraterrestrial or something, not born and raised on this planet, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And the fossil record is the strongest argument against that, I suppose. I don't think Bigfoot and Dogman can breed because I view one as a evolved creature and one as something that I just can't even understand what it is. So, but I know there are people that talk about military government experimentation on genetics and stuff. There is weird stuff that goes on, but I don't know. I mean, it's I'd have to see evidence of that, I guess.
Yeah,
I would agree. Troy says, DA, where's that cave in Missouri that was closed off with a steel cage? It's called Smiddle Cave. You can Google it, and it's either in Laclede County or possibly Wright County. I'm not sure which county it's in, but off the top of my head, but it's called Smiddle Cave. The Missouri Department of Conservation went in and took the land from the Smiddle family, and they sealed off that cave, ostensibly to protect brown cave bat species. But you can keep people out of a cave with a chain link fence and some concrete. What they put on there looked like it was designed to stop a tank.
Looks like it was meant to block a dragon.
Yeah, no kidding. It is massive. Patty Figueroa, super chat. Thank you, Patty. You are awesome. Trying to catch up with some of the questions in the chat before. Well, I think I am caught up. Holy crap.
Look
at
at
what to do now. That's awesome.
When you were talking earlier, Ken, about the flying triangle craft and how we're seeing these things, it is interesting whether you're on the side of the fence that it's advanced human technology that just isn't public yet, or alien technology or whatever. A few months ago, I work as a registered nurse, and as kind of a thank you to healthcare workers, the people at Whitman Air Force Base flew one of the F-117s over Springfield, and ostensibly they flew over the hospital I work at, and so it's kind of a little flyby salute. Well, I had never seen an F-117 in flight, up live, but I know about them. I've seen pictures, whatever. Seeing something that unusual, even though I knew what it was, I was expecting to see it flying over at 1,000 feet. It was the creepiest damn thing I ever saw. Granted, I could hear an engine or whatever, but I was like, that doesn't even look like a plane. What? What is this thing? And I recorded like a 10-second video of it. I was kept watching it over and over again, going, yeah, if I didn't know what that was, that would be really frightening, because it is so bizarre. We have in our heads, what a bird looks like, what an aircraft looks like, what a dog looks like, and we try to put things into those little, what do you call it, pigeonholes.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't fit, your mind doesn't really know what to do with it.
That's true. It's a good point. People are afraid of what they don't understand. So
that's very true, folks. You loaded some new features in the chat tonight. Hadn't really had a chance to talk about it, but I'll go ahead and say something about it real quick. When we made the transition, when we got to 1,000, it opened up a lot of features on YouTube that we don't have before. There's something called a super chat. You guys can check that out. It's a gray box with a little $sign in it. It's for the people that want to support the channel. Appreciate everybody that's already been hitting that tonight. But that's what that is. It's nothing really, really crazy or far out there. It's just a new feature that was unlocked once we hit 1,000 subscribers.
So anyway,
go ahead,
we have all gone silent.
Sorry about that.
We were in awe of your going to 1,000 people, I think. So let's take a moment and breathe it in.
Just being polite to let the other person talk. That's
deep contemplation.
Well, Ken, you said you were only going to be able to be here about an hour tonight, correct?
Yeah, I'm afraid so, guys. I'm gearing up for an expedition. So.
Okay, well, since your time with us is coming to an end, I think we should go ahead and give away this book.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Wonderful book, people. Wonderful book.
I have this copy of A Menagerie of Mysterious Beasts by Ken Gerhard that Ken was very wonderful enough to sign. It is an autographed edition of this book right there.
That's awesome.
And one of you in the chat room tonight will be winning that in the next couple of minutes. Oh, awesome. Thank you, Mrs. Chef Yoda. You are awesome. Thank you very much.
Cool.
And so, how do I get a signed copy, Ken? I mean, I'll buy it. Can I have to send it to you, or do I buy it direct from you?
Yeah, I sell signed copies directly. If people just message me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, and just say I'd like a signed copy, we can definitely do that. So
yeah, I got one for myself too.
Cool.
we'll have Nightbot select somebody at random from the people that are active in the chat tonight. So Josh, if you would go ahead and set that up, and we'll make the draw in about a minute. Give everybody a chance to chime in and talk. Okay. Josh said just messaged me, says he's ready whenever we are. Some to go in 1 minute.
Wow.
Make
Ken,
sure
how
you've
far-
been talking.
Ken, how far away from Austin, Texas are you?
about 50 minutes.
Oh, all right.
45,
When I come up
50
to visit Josh Turner, I'm going to bring my Ken Gerhard books and I'll visit you.
That sounds
Thanks
good.
very much, Trev.
We can definitely meet up somewhere. That would be fun.
Oh, definitely. We were thinking about getting
time.
Dick and get Barton down there too and have a little barbecue.
Yeah. Hey, man, when you're in Texas, especially the Austin area, you got to have Texas barbecue. That's like, there's a town up there called Lockhart, just east of Austin. There's some great spots around Austin, but Lockhart's got two famous barbecue places. One that I like to eat at's been family owned for like 100 years, and it's pretty outstanding. But
Wow.
yeah, we'll have some barbecue. We'll talk about cryptids. That sounds good.
I might have to make that road trip with Nick. That sounds like a good time.
You want to come?
Jesse L says, "What's everybody's opinion on Bigfoot and Dogman both using infrasound to mess with researchers? Is it a defense or no? Every time I go in the field, I'm affected by it."
Well, I can't speak to the Dogman. I don't have as much experience with that. But Bigfoot, yeah, I mean, there are people that have claimed they've had that kind of that feeling when they're out in the field, disoriented and can't focus. And so, I mean, it's, there are large animals and including large predators that use that type of thing. So, there could also be something said for the stench of Bigfoot, which is not reported as much as people think. It's only described about, 11 to 14% of the time people describe the bad smell. But I know one guy, a Bigfoot investigator, that claimed that he had this smell. He was close to a Bigfoot, and he claimed the Bigfoot kind of like blew its stench on him, kind of like a skunk type thing, or at least that's how he interpreted it. And he got so sick that he had to get taken to the hospital. So he became violently ill. And
what are you doing here tonight, sir? Bigfoot farted on me. That goes over well in the ER, I bet.
Yeah,
I mean,
psych eval.
Yeah, so I don't know.
72 hours, buddy.
Hooter Transport, thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Let's see. See if there's any more questions before Nightbot picks a winner. Lanita says, "Ken, I've enjoyed your work for years. Thank you."
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Lanita. I appreciate your support and your interest.
Papa Bear tells me I have to order 2 books.
Has anybody seen Nightbot pop the winner in yet?
Not yet.
I have not.
I haven't been looking.
Oh, he's getting ready to do it now. Okay.
Silent but
Dude writes this silent but deadly. Death by Bigfoot.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that one to come into my urgent care.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the quiet
Here we
ones that
go.
always get you.
Travis Drum has won the giveaway.
Congratulations,
Cool.
Travis. Wow.
Woo.
Congratulations.
Congrats, Travis.
Folks, if you want to get a copy of Ken Gerhard's book for yourself, you can find it on Amazon on the link below, or you can reach out to Ken on Ken through Facebook, and he, like he said, he sells them directly. Let's see, Travis, if you want to reach out to me at DARoberts at DARoberts.net and give me your address, I'll get that book in the mail to you. And congratulations on that. And or if you want to reach us by mail, you can reach us at P.O. Box 4614, Springfield, Missouri 65808-4614. However, which way you want to reach out to us, but get me your information, and I'll get that book right out to you.
Very cool.
Ken, thank you so much for being here, man. I know we appreciate the time you've given us, and we know you're a busy guy, and I would love to have you back again sometime, and maybe give another book away, and hopefully have you a little longer next time.
Yeah, definitely, guys. Thanks again for having me on. You were all amazing, great questions, and I think good points made by everyone. And thank you to everyone that listened in and joined in on the chat room with questions. It was great. I'd love to come back.
We'd love to have you. Thank you for being here, sir.
All right, guys. Hey, thank you.
Good seeing you.
Have a great night, sir.
Good seeing you all. Everyone have a good night.
Nice to meet you.
Bye-bye.
Autograph. Thanks again for.
So
That's
I feel
right.
bad. I didn't ask a single question.
Well, I did want to circle back on a comment that Mark Napier made when we were talking about the triangle craft. I totally agree with you, Mark. I don't think that the triangle craft that people are seeing that are moving silently and so slow are an F-117 by any stretch of the imagination. It's something else. I am still on the fence as to whether we built it or somebody else did. But yeah, definitely not a misidentified F-117. The thing that when I saw the known F-117, it rattled the whole neighborhood, and you could tell it had propulsion, and it was quite obviously it was a plane. It was just something I'd never seen before. But yeah, these slow moving, silent, UFOs, yeah, they're legit. They're something else. I just don't know what they are. I don't want to be misinterpreted there.
Yeah, I just saw something on the comments. I just wanted to set the record straight for the people out there. In reference to infrasound, it's not so much, because this individual said that he can't hear that range. It's not something so much that you hear or don't hear. It's more something you feel.
It's a vibration.
Yeah, it's a type of vibration and it will affect you. And anybody could really experience it if you go to a zoo with younger tigers. And I don't mean like 1 or 2 years old. I mean like in a 5, 6, 7, 8 year range. And you get near their cage close enough, and they will emit a sound if they feel like you shouldn't be near their area. And you will experience infrasound, and that is just like it. I was at our national zoo over in Washington, D.C., and a lot of people were getting a little bit too close to the tiger cage, and when he let it out, you could feel it right through your whole body. So that's more like what infrasound is. It's not like something you can hear.
Yeah, it's definitely not an actual sound. It's a vibration.
Mrs. Sheffield had a question. She said, Ken, is there another place other than Facebook to get a signed copy? As far as I know, he doesn't have a website. But if you contact me through Facebook, or if you would like me to relay your information, I will send it to him via email. I didn't ask his permission to give out his email address. So if you get a hold of me through my email address, I'll forward it to Ken, and he can get a hold of you. Yeah.
He also mentioned Twitter and Instagram as some of his social media platforms that he uses. So that may help too. Yeah, I think it's some interesting stuff. It's neat to see. We're all believers in the cryptid phenomenon. To a certain point, some of us more than others. I mentioned before, I consider myself more on the agnostic side. But it is interesting that he seems to be even more skeptical, given the number of years that he has spent in it. But I guess it makes him a little bit more credible in what he does do, I suppose. But certainly not just anybody else.
Josh Turner was listening in. He just
missed him by that much.
Missed him. Yeah, he was only able to stay about an hour.
Oh. Yeah.
Anyway, I have kind of a fun story about, and I'm sure everybody's heard this, but the story about Mark Twain and Nikola Tesla.
Oh, really? I'd like to hear that.
Well, Tesla experimented a lot with the vibrations.
Yes.
And he had a particular one that if you laid on the table and it made you vibrate, it felt good. It felt pretty good. And Mark Twain was fond of going over to Tesla's house and saying, "Hey, how about I jump on the table and give me a buzz?" And
funny.
So, one day he hops on the table and he's wearing his little white suit and everything's all fine and good and Jim Dandy. And Tesla gives him a shot and he says, "Man, I that was really good. How about turning it up a little bit?" Tesla turns it up a little bit and he says, "A little bit more." And he turned it up a little bit more, and it caused Mark Twain to release his bodily functions.
Wow.
Yes. The brown note. Yes.
Well, that'll do the trick.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the government's already, working on infrasound weapons for like riot control and things like that. And, I mean, it's known stuff. And it is interesting, to witness. Several years ago, I got the chance to go down to the St. Augustine Alligator Farm, and it's a neat little tourist trap where they've got, all the different species of crocodilians in the world in one place. Well, they have a big open pit that they've got just filled with alligators, and you can feed them. They've got these little, I don't know what they are, some kind of weird rodents that are dead, and you throw them in, the gators will eat them.
The nutri-rats?
Nutri-rats, I think is what they are. I think they're actually frozen and thawed nutri-rats. But they've got some bull alligators down there that are, 14, 15, 16 feet long. I mean, these things are gigantic. And I remember my son and I were sitting down there watching them, and one of the bulls, when they would come out with the rats, if the other gators got too close, this one bull would just sit there, and you could watch the water ripple around him. You didn't hear a thing, but everything was rattling, and you could see the water rippling. He was emitting some kind of a very low frequency sound, and the other gators knew to stay the hell away. And even being 6 feet off the ground, and was this Nick? Sorry,
it wasn't gator gas.
That's the thawed nutri-rats a little hard on the bowels.
I've actually seen that, not in person, mind you, but I've seen videos of them vibrating the water like that, and the little droplets of water just dance all around them from the vibrations.
Oh, it was the neatest thing, and I was 6 feet above them, on a concrete platform with a steel rail, and I could feel the rail shaking in my hands, and I was like, that's pretty interesting, because the gator wasn't touching the rail. It was probably 10 feet from us. It was really neat.
Did you volunteer to go down there, or they didn't give you the chance to do that?
Actually, I did get my picture taken down in the gator pit. They feed them so much that unless the rat pretty much lands on their head, they won't even try to get it. Like if they were to throw the rat next to it, they just kind of give it a hairy eyeball and don't even look. So it's pretty safe, with the trainers to go in there. And I was sitting on one of the gators. It was about a 12-foot gator.
Oh, nice.
I got my picture taken holding a 3-foot gator. It was really neat. We got
that was back when you had all 10 fingers, right?
Exactly. Before I got that prosthetic leg.
How were you holding him, by the tail or like like a
fish?
Oh, like a fish.
And
snap or anything, or
No. He was not. He gave no F's at all that I was even there.
Wow.
The little hatchlings were cute though. They had some fresh hatchlings down there, and they were chirping, like birds. They make little squeaky noises, and it was neat. It was very cool. It was worth whatever the tourist trap bill for that was.
I actually love tourist traps. I'm one of those weirdos. I'll stop at every single one of them. I don't care if it's wired together and they say it's from Mars. I'll stop and look at it.
Oh yeah.
I am the person who keeps those places going.
Well, I like those little places too. You know, when we do road trips, when my wife and the boys don't always want to stop, but I'll drive by those little roadside attractions and go, oh, I want to go there.
That's me.
Yeah.
And Brad's like, no.
Yeah, my wife's the same way. She's like, you don't want to stop at that. It's just a stupid tourist trap. Keep driving.
But I'm all,
cool.
You never
this is
know.
a legit, scientific facility and whatever. But it definitely draws in the tourist dollars. You can buy the T-shirts and you can buy like alligator jerky and stuff like that. And it's the kids got a kick out of it. I thought it was neat from a science standpoint, because I mean, where in the world are you going to see? I think there's like 18 species of crocodilians in the world. They're all there, and they have a tank with a big saltwater crocodile in it. Thing's 23 feet long.
That's a big lizard.
You could go below the surface of the water. They've got a window. And my daughter had her back turned to it, and it came up to the glass, and it opened its mouth and then bumped the glass and then kind of came back. I mean, it was going in for a bite, and so that was kind of cool because, the head of this thing was, the size of a mini. It was, pretty good sized critter.
And now it has a broken nose and a headache.
It was cracking the glass.
Well,
look, it's time to go.
The bump was funny because she was completely oblivious, and I'm watching the thing come up. It was like,
we have our roadside.
When you're in a like an aquarium type thing with this giant glass, and you're just standing there, and this big shark just comes right up. Hello.
No. Right.
That close from the shark.
That would be a dream come true for me. I love sharks. I've always wanted.
Sharks are kind of cool. I don't want to dive with one, but.
Oh, me, I do.
You ever notice those shows where they say the top 10 ways to avoid being bitten by a shark?
Yeah. And they never list staying out of the water.
Yeah. Why isn't number one stay out of the water?
Don't go near it.
Because the assumption is that you want to avoid being bitten by a shark while you're in the water. And my dad, when I was a kid, he was in the Navy, so he would give us all these instructions at the beach. Don't swim when the tide's coming in. Don't swim in murky water. If you see the birds diving, there's bait fish. If there's bait fish, there's sharks. And don't swim under the pier. All these rules, and I've never failed to break every single one of those rules when I'm in the water.
Sharks are closer to us than we think when we're on vacation in certain places, like.
Oh yeah.
In Hawaii and southern Florida, for instance, two places that I've seen drone footage of the water, and you see these surfers out there and everything, and there's people swimming, and the sharks are all around them, but they're oblivious to them. They don't realize that these sharks are down there, and they're like 2 feet away from you, possibly.
Yeah.
Kelly Slater, who's one of my favorite surfers, was in a competition in Australia a couple of years ago. Well, gosh, I guess it's been about 6 years ago now, or 7. And it was so funny because it wasn't funny. It was hilarious. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just cruel that way. But he's waiting for a wave, and he goes, and it's coming, and he's getting ready, and all of a sudden his board's attacked by a shark. And you hear it, and surfing announcers are just funny anyway. It's, dude. And all you hear is, well, Slater's out there. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's funny. I got excited.
Yeah, it was hilarious. And I kept playing it back because it just cracked me up. But
Josh Turner, thank you for the super chat, and he says he's got to head out. Appreciate you being here, sir. Thank you very much. That is awesome. Much appreciated, sir.
Hey, Josh. Take care.
Have a good night, man. Ron Yelton says, any Bigfoot by Dalhart, Texas? I used to live down not too far from there, but I don't remember hearing anything near Dalhart. If you know where Paladuro Canyon is, there have been reportings down in Paladuro Canyon, which isn't too far from Dalhart. But I haven't heard anything in the Dalhart area itself. If you go to the BFRO website, they have a sightings database by state and by county. Look up what county Dalhart's in and look at their database. And their sighting reports are generally pretty good about being collated by state and county. So I would check there for any Bigfoot accounts. If not, there are other places. The GCBRO, or the Gulf Coast Bigfoot Research Organization, they encompass Texas and all the Gulf Coast states. You could check the GCBRO site as well.
All righty then.
Well, of course, there's a lot of Bigfoot. Yeah, there he is.
What's up, man?
Hey, Sentinel, how's it going? I was going to tell you guys, we have a roadside attraction here or a tourist trap here.
It's called Branson.
Ours is called the Bell Witch Cave.
I want to go see that.
I've been there a couple of times because Brad got tired of listening to me whine.
we should do a show about the Bell Witch.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's a lot
really
different
creepy
from any of the movies they've done on it or any of the documentaries.
On site, you guys should do a show there and take Steve with you, just in case he needs to go. You know.
One of the things that Operation Human Shield.
One of the things that they say don't do is don't take a rock from there because you will regret it.
Really?
Yeah.
I had not heard that.
I stopped and checked the bottoms of my shoes when we left to make sure nothing was stuck in them. I was like, I'm not bringing anything. It's good. But yeah, they tell you not to don't pick up any of the rocks in the cave. The cave was kind of cool to go in. I'm not much of a spelunker, but I enjoy going in that cave. It's got some cool formations in it.
Mrs. Chef Yoda says, D.A. Roberts, author, have there been any current sightings near that place in Tennessee? I sent you the photo of the wolf hanging in the tree. The mother of the boy who took that photo was curious. I haven't heard anything. I did some internet searches about that area, and there just really doesn't seem to be that much that pop up. However, after having seen that picture, it's probably worth a drive down there. So maybe if I can talk the wife, and I can sweet talk the wife, maybe we can make another trip. I know I definitely want to go back to LBL. Maybe we could swing down that way. I would definitely also like to hit some of the places in eastern Kentucky and Tennessee, because there are a lot of sightings there. But there are a lot of sightings here in Missouri I haven't gotten to yet. There are a bunch up near Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, which is ironically where Codename Wild Hunt is located. And there's a reason for that.
I once asked a military guy who Leonard Wood was, and it surprised him because he thought Leonard Wood was a single word. It's like, who's Leonard Wood? Oh, that's a person.
Yeah. He's a general.
Who's Leonard Skinner?
Yeah.
Totally different guy.
He's a guy from the song Hello Mudda, Hello Fada. That's where they got the name.
Everybody pronounces it for Leonard Wood instead of Leonard Wood. Yeah, it does seem like it's a.
He said he'd always said it's one word. It never occurred to him that it was actually a person's name. It's like, no, it was. DA, if you get back to LBL, and I'm hoping you do because I want to meet you there. While you're there, you are not that far from Werewolf Springs or the Bell Witch Cave.
I would like to hit both of those. That sounds like a great road trip.
Yes.
Mrs. Chef Yoda says, I couldn't believe how high the tree it was hanging. Some weird stuff for sure. Definitely. Anyway, sorry about that. I didn't want to read that before I forgot, because I tend to do that.
Fort Lost in the Woods. Yeah, I've heard it called that many times.
Yeah, that's what we called it when I was stationed there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hooter Transport says, Hooter Transport with the basic training at Leonard Wood. So did I.
I think it's funny. You in your books, you talk about Steve's Pub and Grub being near the South Gate. And I was talking to one of my students who's in the Army, and she was saying, I hope people don't actually drive up near the South Gate looking for that bar. And I'm like, why? And she goes, a lot of really sketchy shit happens near the South Gate.
Incidentally, some of the sightings are near the South Gate.
Oh, how funny.
Isn't oh hell. Did anybody see that jump out of my head? Because I'm pretty sure it did.
Like smoke.
See,
I saw the
scared to
smoke.
go up there.
I actually heard it pop when it jumped out of my ear.
That was the paradigm shifting without a clutch.
It was the brain cells committing suicide. We ain't fooling nobody.
Well, I am scared to even go too near a military base because I have the annoying knack of misreading my GPS and ending up on the base. And the very pleasant people with automatic weapons don't want me there. And I was trying to get to the Hard Rock Cafe in Waikiki when I was in Hawaii a few years ago, and my Garmin took me right up to Hickam Air Force Base. And I literally was stopped at the guard shack by two guards with M4s who wanted to know why I was there, and explained to me that they weren't going to shoot me because I clearly was lost. And I showed them my GPS. They're like, "Yes, sir. You need to throw that damn thing out." Yes. Yes.
My husband makes a lot of deliveries to Clarksville, whatever's north of there. And he has one gate he can go in. It's the only one they let the deliveries go into. And he always feels like he's been, I feel so violated.
Hey, Steve, there's a comment there. It says, "Stay away from Area 51." That is
probably a good idea.
Probably
a good idea.
Speaking of bad GPS, my wife could tell you the story about the time. I don't remember where we were going, but Google Maps tried to make us turn into a lake. It's like, turn left. I'm like, it's a freaking lake. I'm not turning left.
I
thing's out of
remember.
its mind. It's trying to kill me.
I remembered some of my other brain cells rallied around. I was going to ask, isn't Fort Leonard Wood where all of the mud puppies get trained? Were you a mud puppy?
What, MPs?
Yeah.
No, ma'am. I was not an MP.
Oh. Just curious, because that's where they all got trained. Was it?
I think that's the primary base for MP training now. It didn't used to be when I was in, but that was back in the late 80s. So it's pretty much changed a lot since I was there.
Cool. Anyway, so now we're silent again.
Well, I don't know if he's still in the audience tonight, but John Miller sent me a care package.
Miller from Maine.
Yep. Dogman Ale.
All right.
That's amazing.
It's from
was it wrapped enough
Beard's Brewery
that if there was C4 in there, you wouldn't even hear it if it went off?
Pretty much, yeah.
Because that's what John sent me some too, and I'll tell you, it was really wrapped.
Yeah, it was bubble wrapped to beat hell.
That's awesome.
Wow. Is it good?
I haven't tried it yet.
It was very tasty. It was very tasty, really.
I was considering cracking one open and giving it a shot.
On the air. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get that.
All right,
get that bitter beer face on the air.
Yeah. Well,
as long as we're breaking your arm to do it.
Yeah.
Josh Jones' comment kicks Nightbot. Wake up. Apparently, Nightbot is not paying attention to commands. Nightbot is off the reservation, folks.
Oh, no.
All right. Here we go. We're going to try the Dogman Ale.
Is it cold?
Yeah, it's cold.
Are you supposed to drink ale cold?
I always do.
Well, at least,
I'm not European.
The Brits
50 degrees anyway.
Hot. My gosh.
I think they drink at room temperature.
It's not bad.
A little hoppy. A little hop along Cassidy.
Wonder what its alcohol by volume is.
Well, I'd be more concerned with the IBUs to measure the hoppiness.
Yeah.
If you fall over dead drunk, by the time you're halfway through, we'll know it's pretty high.
It says, the Dogman Scotch Ale. All heed the hellacious snarl of the malevolent beast. Beware the Dogman as he prowls the woodline, where ye dare not go. Better to take shelter in the cabin with this fear-quenching ale. Deep ruby in color, warming but smooth, sweet and caramelly with a touch of smoke. Pairs well with late-season camping, cold nights by the fire, and braised venison shanks. Also a superb braising liquid. It's not bad.
Well, I think I need to get a hold of a good supply of that, drink a whole bunch of them at LBL, and then process it through my kidneys and see if I can draw more Dogman out.
Yeah.
Roll it out.
There you go. I won't be there.
Larry Phelps says it's not as good as my mead. Well, it's tough to beat the mead, man. That mead is fantastic. Somebody says Scottish Dogman must be pretty mean. It's the kilt. I'd be mean too.
Yeah, somebody.
It's hard. It's also hard to howl with a brogue.
Try it.
I think you'll strain your vocal cords to try to howl with a brogue.
Oh Lord!
Besides, it would be like, "Oh, you bastards!"
Dirty bastards.
I learned something interesting today about beer. Actually, I was reading an article about units of measure of beer. Like how much is a schooner versus a pint versus a whatever. I didn't realize that when you get a pint of beer in the UK, it's actually bigger.
Mm-hmm. I knew that. I actually knew that.
So, by definition, a pint is an eighth of a gallon. So, in terms of a U.S. gallon, you're talking 128 ounces. It's 16 ounces. In the UK, they use imperial gallons, which are larger. And so, a pint of in the UK, it's a little over 19 ounces. Yeah. So you're getting it like 19.2 ounces. I'm like, huh. Well, I always used to think, well, maybe British beer was just stronger. I couldn't figure out why it was hitting me harder. Well, I'm drinking more damn beer.
There's just a lot of it.
There's just more, yeah. But I thought it was really neat.
Look at a pint that Naoma has there. My God.
Yeah.
Filled with wine.
Coffee.
Oh.
My Italian
in the
coffee.
Army when I was in the Air Force, DA. Yeah, late 80s, idiots. There we go. Showing off our age.
Yeah.
We're the old
I'm the oldest person in the room, so let's not talk about age. Anyway.
So I was talking to somebody the other day. I won't say who. Oops, wrong direction. Who possibly had a sighting in LBL.
She might have. She might not have. We don't know.
I think you did. Would you like to tell everybody about it?
Well, okay. There's not a lot to tell. We were headed down to the camp out with the Sawdust guys. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even say anything to them or to Cameron Buckner or to my husband. I didn't say anything to anybody because it was just so weird. I will tell you that looking up works, and it will be something I won't be doing anymore. Thank you very much. But we were headed, the camp was down on Kentucky Lake, and the road to get there was pretty dicey. And we had opted to take my husband's vehicle, which is actually a Honda something or other. It's one of those little frog cars. You bump your butt on the road all the way down. And instead of my Escape, which isn't actually that much of a better deal, but it would have definitely got us over some of the ruts a little easier. We wouldn't have dragged bottom. And he's a truck driver. It's not like he doesn't know how to drive or anything, but he was a little nervous about going down this road. And he's like, hands on the steering wheel straight ahead, but not me. I'm like looking out the window and all around me. And I won't do that again either. I happened to glance up the hill. It wasn't, the woods weren't right up against us. It kind of phased into the woods. And there was a black object. DA, if you still have the picture, you can put it up. I don't care. It's on my
phone. It would take me a bit of juggling to get it over here.
Well, the best I can describe it is it looked like the Tasmanian devil in profile with long arms and legs. Like his arms were as long as the Tasmanian devil's arms are, but his legs were long too. And it was running alongside us about 20 feet up the incline. And then it probably within 2 to 3 seconds, it made a right turn and vanished up into the woods. And the woods were pretty thick. So it seemed like it happened really fast. And at first, I think I thought, wow, that moved really fast. But at the same time, as thick as the woods were, it probably wouldn't have taken it a second to vanish anyway. And
Sure.
I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a dogman. Oh, there it is. Yeah. It's basically what I saw. And
wow.
And it was just running through the trees, and it just stopped and made a right turn and went straight up the hill. And I saw it for maybe 3 or 4 seconds tops. And I just don't know. Honest to goodness, I really don't know what I was looking at. And it was jet black. I did not see eyes, so don't ask me what the eye shine was, because I didn't. It was looking forward. It wasn't looking at us.
Was it dark or daylight?
It was about 2:30 in the afternoon on a pretty nice sunny day. And
Meg says, I believe you, Naoma. So do I.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That means more to me than you guys absolutely know. But what was that?
Oh, werewolf 567
It's been like a tornado.
Yeah. Anyway.
Taz bottle caps.
Tasby Dogman. No, it was just I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you what I saw. Yeah. And I didn't say anything. I mean, my husband was sitting, and as low as we were sitting, he couldn't have seen it up the hill anyway. He would have had to been on my side of the car. I didn't say anything to him because I thought, oh Lord, he doesn't want me to, you know. My husband is not a believer. He lovingly tolerates this because he loves me, and he's an amazing man, and I thank God every day for him. But this is not something that is up his alley at all. And so I didn't want to say anything to him. And then we got there, and there were a few times when people were talking, and I almost said, I saw something back there. And then I didn't. I just didn't. In fact, the first person I finally said it to was I was chatting with DA, and I was finally like, I just got to tell somebody this because this is just crazy. And then I told Nick, I think was the second person I told it to. So there you go. I've seen something. Don't know what it was. Guessing it was the Dogman or a juvenile Bigfoot. Well.
I think it was a Dogman from your description. Ivy Ray says, these woods are haunted. On the Travel Channel had a girl give her story on a werewolf attacking her and a friend in their car in North Carolina. They've had some really great shows. I love these woods are haunted. My wife and I watch those all the time. I've actually probably watched that whole series like 3 times now.
We don't have cable. Is there another place that it streams that I could watch it?
I watch it on, I want to say Hulu. One of the streaming services.
Hulu's what I thought I had heard too.
Yeah, it's either on Hulu or Amazon Prime. We don't have cable anymore. We just have 2 or 3 streaming services we watch everything on.
Yeah.
Patty Figueroa says, DA, Steve, Naoma, and Nick, what started it all for you go down the cryptids rabbit hole? Naoma, ladies first. I'll let you start.
When I was a little kid, my sister is a twisted woman. And
Twisted Sister, love that.
Oh, yeah. My mother worked third shift most of my life, and so my sister, who was about 5.5 years this time of year, 6 years older than me, was sort of my. If I got scared, when I was really little, my mom was there, but then when she went to third shift, it was my sister who would take care of me. It was my sister who would read my bedtime stories. And my sister, being the person she is, my bedtime stories were always Edgar Allan Poe and
Raven.
And so I have always had, I've always had an interest in the odd. And then when I was about 7 or 8, I remember we were all watching Night of the Living Dead, and when it was over, my brothers, who were all quite a bit older than us, and they, in fact, a couple of them were married, got up and left with their wives and or girlfriends, and they left just my sister and I. And then my sister, I don't remember, she went to her friend's house or whatever, but I found myself suddenly with my mom at work, my siblings gone, my dad sleeping in the bedroom, and this really crazy show came on called The Legend of Boggy Creek.
Great movie.
I was captivated. Not long after that, there was a show with Peter Graves. It was a documentary, Mysterious Monsters, I believe it was called. There's another version of it where that is actually narrated by Twilight Zone guy. I love him. What's his name?
Rod Serling.
Rod Serling. And both of those. And then there was, of course, there was Leonard Nimoy's shows. And I just got more and more fascinated by it. But it wasn't until I was 18, and I lived in the Midwest. It wasn't something I expected to have happen where I lived. But we lived in a cabin on the river, and we had a couple of things happen that I'm pretty well convinced are Bigfoot related. And I think, no, I was 19 at the time. And I think that it just built in me until I couldn't stand it anymore. And it's just been a fascination.
Josh. Oh, Lord.
He shot old Nightbot. He shot old Nightbot.
Yeah, that was an awful ending to that movie. So that's where mine comes from. Who wants to go next?
Nick, go ahead, brother.
Well, I started when I was like 7, 8 years old. My mother got me into the paranormal, and that's what I used to investigate. I had a little group of friends that we all did throughout grammar school and high school, and frankly, I've always tried to either prove or to disprove, and I've always disproved anything that we ever investigated up until I was about 19, and then I used to watch some old films on the Yeti, on the Sasquatch, Champ from Lake Champlain, all those old time type of cryptids, and I got interested in it. One day at a library, I just picked up a couple of books on a couple of cryptids, and it went from there. I was about 20 years old, and then from then on, that's all I've been investigating has been cryptids until like 2013 is when I finally came across something that resembled what is today known as the Dogman. I thought it was a werewolf, except it was over 7 feet tall. And that was my encounter. But, since I've been 20 years old, I've been doing cryptozoology type creatures. And they're very interesting, and they never stop being interesting. And the accounts that people contact me with, which are nearing like 50 per week now at this point. I can't possibly investigate all of them, but they're like just so interesting. Everybody's story actually is a bit different. They have a little different slant on them to tell. Some of them do include extraterrestrial sightings. Some of them include face-to-face encounters. I don't mean right up close, but they've actually seen it with their eyes. Or some people have had a relative tell them about it, about a place where they live. And I still get the occasional paranormal story. Last year, we investigated something up in New England states on a tulpa, Tulpa. Mm-hmm. And I wrote about that in my North American Dogman Project Region 3 site. If anybody would be interested to read about that. I mean, it was a really interesting, we went up there, we actually investigated it. And we had to bring in a green witch to help us with it. So that's basically my story. It's just been an interesting ride, real interesting ride. And I get to meet interesting people like D.A. Roberts and Stephen Naoma and Josh Turner and, Martin Nunley, Ken Gerhard, all those guys, and ladies.
All right, next.
Steve, go ahead, buddy.
All right. Well, my story isn't near as interesting as y'all's. I am a consummate reader and a huge nerd, and I've been a fan of Star Trek for as long as I can remember. And everybody's always like, oh, I'd like to be in Starfleet. I want to do such and such. Well, I always wanted to be one of the exobiologists. I wanted to be the ones that they sent to study the life of these other planets and things. And when I heard about an actual scientific field of cryptozoology, I'm like, well, it's kind of the same thing. It's discovering these animals that nobody's seen and everything. And I'm like, that'd be pretty badass to be one of these guys. And I research what I can, try to look at it scientifically, take what I can prove and throw out what I can't. And it's been kind of a casual hobby. Well, then when I started when I became good friends with DA and we started talking about his books and you had all the focus on that, I started, kind of refreshing some of that research because, I want to understand what we're writing about. I want to, I had never heard of a dogman. I knew about werewolves, but I didn't know what a dogman was.
Yeah.
And then after having our little serendipitous encounter out at Joe Bald and, having a dogman expert basically telling me that I'm lucky I didn't get myself killed pissing on a tree. I've got to thinking if I really want to learn about this stuff, I need to learn enough that I'm not going to get myself killed. It became more of a research for survival. But I still consider myself very agnostic. I want to see proof. I don't need to see the dead body, but I want to see proof. I want the satisfaction of knowing that we were right. They were there. They are there.
In my mind, I already know.
I don't want to see any critter die. Unless there's no other choice, and it's me or it. I would want to see one of them killed. But I want the validation, and hopefully we'll have it soon.
There's a possibility of taking one alive, isn't there?
Oh yeah.
Probably not by me, but.
You mean you're not going to bring animal tranquilizers? You're going to load your gun with real slugs?
How would you know the dosage to knock out an unknown animal?
Hey, look at it this way: if
take
you dose it high
a mountain
enough,
gorilla's dosage and multiply it by 6.
One of two things is going to happen: either you're going to knock it out or kill it. Either way, you're going to get a body.
In my luck, I'd hit him with just enough that he'd go, "Hit me again."
I'd hate to do it several times and have him get addicted. And the next thing you know, you've got one in your living room window waving his butt at you. Come on, a little more.
Tapping his arm.
He'll capture and say, "What's Naomi's address?"
No. I have a feeling they already know where I live.
Oh.
One of the people on board here asked a question before. They said, "Gee, I'm terrified of a dog man, but I want to go out and find one." Well, let me tell you something. Go to a zoo and look at a bear that's about 6.5 feet tall and stand close to it, and then see what would happen. Just figure in your mind what would happen if you met up with a 7.5-foot dog man, 650 pounds. I mean, seriously?
They can do a lot of damage.
You got to have another plan because you don't want to meet something like that out there. You really
if you want the real experience, cover yourself in barbecue sauce.
That's what we're going to do to Naoma next year.
That's right.
Well, that's why that one was pacing you. It's like she's got snacks.
No.
Yeah. It smelled the barbecue sauce.
I think what really got me into it is kind of like Naomi. I watched those old insert shows with Leonard Dean Boy, and then one late night, I saw, I think it was The Legend of Boggy Creek. It was a movie about Bigfoot. And I was always telling all my brothers and sisters that I wanted to find Bigfoot, and I'd go out and play in the yard like I was tracking Bigfoot, and it's just in the yard, And of course, everybody thought I was an idiot, and probably still do. But one time when I was about 5 or 6, it was shortly before we moved to New Mexico. We moved down there for a few years and then moved back after my mother passed away. But I was aggravated that nobody believed me that I wanted to go find Bigfoot. And we were out at my Uncle Buddy's house, who was the inspiration for Jay Matoska in my books. He was full-blood Cherokee. He was married into the family. I married my Aunt Violet. And anyway, we were out at Uncle Buddy's house because my dad, my mom and my Uncle Buddy played music together. They would play like bluegrass and folk music together. Both played guitars and sang. And we were out at his house one time, and I was talking about, because he lived way out in the boonies, that I wanted to set out on his deck with binoculars and look for Bigfoot. Of course, everybody's laughing at me. And when everybody kind of went off to do their own thing, Uncle Buddy picked me up and he set me on his knee. And he goes, "You just keep looking. I saw it too." And I was like, he said it was downstairs. He had a downstairs area with a pool table with a sliding glass door. He said, "I walked downstairs one night because I heard something, and I looked, and it was filling the entire sliding glass door. They're out there."
Lord.
And from then on, I was done. That was all all I could think about in my spare time. If I was in the woods, even deer hunting, I'd be out there, be like looking for deer, and I'd be like, maybe I'll see a Bigfoot today. It was always in the back of my mind. And when I got old enough to drive and had access to I had my own pickup, I would drive all these backcountry roads going out where people would say, what do they call that, Booger Holler and Devil's Creek and crap like that. And I'd go out to those places and look around. And I would stop and talk to people. There's a little general store in Sleeper, Missouri, that I stopped one time to get a drink and talk to a couple of the elderly fellas that sat on the front steps. Well, not on the steps, but on the porch of the general store in rocking chairs. And they told me a lot of stories, and it really, really just fired me up. And I've been passionate about it ever since.
And really doing a great job of it. Hey,
thank you, man.
Ace Banner asked a question, which I think Steve actually answered before with his Star Trek analogy. Could Bigfoot in an open field disappear into a cloaked alien ship? Well, it doesn't have to be a cloaked alien ship, but that's what part of my research led me to believe, that Bigfoot, Dogman, maybe they've been put down here on the earth by an alien ship. You never know. I'm never going to say never, but it's possible that they were beamed down and beamed up later on. And, a lot of encounters out there, or where people have followed the footprints into a field and it ends, where the footprint ends. Where else is he going to go? Maybe he went up. It's a possibility, a distinct possibility, Ace.
I go by Occam's razor. The simplest solution is usually the solution, and I don't think it needs really to be beamed up. And I know, and Nick and I disagree on this, but I know it's possible to backtrack on your tracks. I think that they are very, very intelligent, and they go out into the middle of the field, backtrack on their tracks, and then go up a tree, and you'll never find them. I think they're extremely intelligent. They are the masters of their domain. They have what's called environmental intelligence. They know their environment better than we ever will. I grew up deer hunting. I spent a lot of time in the woods. I know woodscraft, but I will never be as good as one of those. But that's just my opinion. I'm no expert. I make no pretenses on being an expert or anything. And that's the thing with cryptids. There are really no experts out there. They're just a bunch of people with a lot of theories until one of us is proven right. Or we could all be wrong. And they could just be Hare Krishnas and we would never know.
That's it.
We're
just trying to give people pamphlets all this time.
That's right. Good people.
Yeah.
Northwood says if the dart can take down an elephant, it can take down anything else. True, but God forbid you've got enough trank for a 1,000-pound animal and you accidentally stab yourself with it. Holy crap. You're either going to take a hell of a nap or you're going to die.
Yeah, it could die. Well, you were working off the assumption, too, that these are creatures from our planet. I mean, Nick's posited that they could have been sent here from some extraterrestrial place. Who's to know our drugs would work on it?
Mm-hmm. Well, and you could, have it wind up reacting like I do to bee stings, stomp around, throw things.
Well, you hit it with a tranquilizer, and it turns out you make it aggressive and horny. A lot of bad things could happen here.
And you better be able to run. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we just assume. I mean, even looking at, like, comparing just humans and dogs, stuff that we eat as snacks will kill our dog. You can kill a dog with enough grapes, chocolate. We know what their physiology is going to be like, especially if they're a non-terrestrial animal.
Well, my argument there is to that end of the spectrum is one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to kill it or you're going to get a living body. To me, the big question is how you're going to drag it out of the woods. One way or the other, you're going to have to get it out of the woods.
Dragging out a good-sized buck takes some work, and that's
Yes,
100 pounds, 120 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah, that's after you dress.
500, 500 plus pound, heavy muscle density. Forget it.
No kidding. That would be a big animal, tough to drag. Better take a chainsaw. Here's the most recent Dogman encounter in my area.
What is that? A bull mastiff?
No, he's a pit bull mix.
Wow,
that's Harley the Wonder Dog.
That's a big boy.
He's a good sized pup. He's pretty spoiled.
So what's the big hairy bastard with the dog?
I don't know. Science hasn't identified that yet. It might be the missing link.
By the way, Northwoods, the first thing I thought of was Tim Conway's dentist sketch when we were talking about DA. When DA said you might accidentally get yourself.
Oh, that was one of the.
I would think more like Ace Ventura when nature calls, when they kept hitting him with those darts. Oh, stop shooting me.
The Tim Conway sketch is amazing. I was reading about that not too long ago, and Harvey Korman was laughing so hard that he peed himself during the sketch.
Tim Conway was a comic genius.
He's in the dentist chair in his own urine. He was dying.
My favorite Tim Conway is when he's talking about the elephants at the circus. The
Siamese elephants.
Yeah. They try to go, but they go, and they got all done, and Vicki Lawrence said, Carol Burnett turns and says, Mama, you got something to say or whatever? And she says, well, is that little SOB done yet? Yeah, that's my favorite. I watch that periodically. My husband will bring it up just to make me laugh.
Ivy Ray has an interesting comment. She says, I don't think these dogmen or Bigfoot are friendly. Hunters and people go missing in the woods all the time. Very much so. That's we well documented with the missing 411 cases, especially missing 411 The Hunters, which is a great documentary if you get a chance to watch it. But I kind of lean toward it being like any other wild animal. I mean, if you're walking down a trail and you round a corner and there's a grizzly bear, 9 times out of 10, it's going to go its way and yours, and you go your way. But that one time you catch one hungry or in a bad mood or get between it and a cub and it's game on. So I think it's all about temperament and when you catch them. I think they're very opportunistic hunters. And if you present yourself as an easy meal, you're probably going to be taken as one.
Yeah. Well, I'm perfectly content to let someone else do the field research. Leave it for the braver men like the Nicks and the Kens and the whatever of the world, and I'll just read the report. I'll look at the DNA analysis and call it good. Although I would love to go out and collect environmental DNA. When now granted DNA technology was kind of primitive when I was in college, in the 90s, but I loved doing DNA profiles of markers and things like that. It'd be really interesting to be able to pull something out of the environment and just see what was there. Right. And even if it's a great unknown, I mean, that would give me the satisfaction of just, see the report. Okay, well, this is showing DNA for bears, trout, and hell if I know what it is. That's all I need.
The girl on Criminal Minds, the chubby girl with the glasses who sits in the office and collects all the information. Yeah. Chubby girl, glasses. What does that tell you?
Northwood says,
I'm ready.
There you go. Northwood says, when I was a kid sitting in the woods during deer season, I always thought if I saw Bigfoot, I would shoot it. Knowing what I know now, I'm glad it never happened. I'm right there with you. Michelle Cox says, I'm sorry I'm late to the show. I totally agree with DA's thoughts on Dogman. Direwolf, yes. I've got a whole theory about that, and it would take hours to explain. But I think we're probably going to be doing a show on that sometime in the near future. Probably get Nick back on so we can argue the point back and forth. But I think I've got a good case for arguing the evolution of dire wolves.
The convergent evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dogs became domesticated by them taming wolves, it would be quite easy for a much bigger predator like dire wolf to see the treatment that wolves were getting and try to mimic some of the things humans were doing. And a lot of accounts, there's been so many Dogman encounters I've read, and even some I've seen in documentaries and on television, where they describe the creature approaching on all fours, and just before it stands up, they hear a popping sound. And when it stands up, they hear the popping sound, kind of like knuckles cracking, really loud knuckles cracking, and it stands up and has hands. I think it's able to close its hands back down like paws and go on all fours. So if they find one dead, it just looks like a big wolf. That's my theory. That would also explain why there's nothing in the fossil record, because they would look like overly oversized wolves.
If you look at what we do know about dire wolves, they're learning now that the dire wolves are actually kind of a misnomer. They're more a giant fox than a wolf. Think about how intelligent foxes are, even compared to other canids. You know, if you have a gigantic fox, you know, it could do some pretty interesting things compared to a regular dog or a wolf or a I don't know. I'd love to know.
I think that they're keenly intelligent. I wouldn't say so much as, human level intelligence, but I would definitely say a cunning and intelligence. What's the word I'm looking for? Very smart predators, environmental intelligence. They would be the masters of bushcraft. They would be extremely hard to find and track. Like, for example, for years they tried to track mountain gorillas, and until they actually finally understood how they moved and what they did, they were never really able to successfully track them. And that's about the time they were able to prove that they were a species, kind of like just here recently in the past 25 years with the billy ape. The natives in that region of the Congo knew about them for years, and Western science was like, nope, that's just native legends. That just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't happen. There's no killer apes out there. By God, National Geographic finally got pictures of them, and they know for a fact that the billy ape is a close descendant of the eastern chimpanzee, but it's bigger, it's meaner, it walks on two legs most of the time, and the locals call them lion killers for a reason.
Cue the British Museum guy. Come on, do it.
Okay. Oh no, they couldn't possibly exist. And then somebody drags a body and he's like, oh, I saw it first. I get to name it.
Yeah. And you called it Billy. What the hell were you thinking?
Billy.
Oh, my phone just said Billy who. Calling Billy. There is no Billy in your phone. Okay.
Well, DA, I like your theory on the dire wolf, but I have some physiological arguments to go against that with. So
sure.
Whenever you want to do that on the show sometime, I can at least put out an hour and a half of counter arguments on that.
Oh, I think we could do 2-3 hours on it.
Yeah.
Again, I make no pretense. I am not saying this is how it is. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm saying this is my theory, and I would love to bounce that back and forth with people that know a lot about the field and have studied Dogman, because I could be 100% wrong. This is just what I've observed and what makes sense to me.
That's how the scientific method works.
Right.
You've got to.
Lenita says, does the popping sound not prove it isn't normal positioning for the wolf? I would think so. I would think that they would force their hands back into a paw formation, but eyewitness accounts have described their hands looking very much like a raccoon, which is really kind of weird when you think about it. A big raccoon hand. It would be spindly. It would be bigger and oddly shaped for a human hand, and the thumb would be slightly differently placed, which again makes sense for the encounters.
Assuming what I saw was a Dogman, and that's still an assumption. When it was running with its hands like this, and they were very elongated. That I do.
That's something I've heard described about Bigfoot as well. That when they move, they're like when we move, we tend to like ball up our fists and swing our arms and move. But this is more straighter armed with the palm facing back as they kind of pad their way through, which kind of makes sense if it's just going to reach out and swipe stuff out of its way as it's running.
It was like almost like it was swimming through the way it was. Not quite.
Again, masters of their domain. Lorraine Booth says, love the Billy Ape videos explaining too. The Billy Ape videos are great. If you guys haven't watched them, you can go on YouTube and find a bunch of them. They're named after the Billy region of the Congo, BILI. If you look up BILI, Billy Apes, you'll find a lot of really cool videos. These things actually make war on each other. I mean, they are diabolical, and they behave. Well, their behavior is very weird for chimps, and it's not typical for gorillas either. But they're like gorilla-sized, but more with a chimp's attitude. So the natives told the photographers, "Don't camp there. Set your camera traps and get out because you won't like what happens." And I believe one of the camera traps, the Billy Ape discovered it and smashed it.
Didn't we see all of this in Congo?
It's like, screw you, screw your trap.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Michael Crichton used the legend of the killer ape in the book Congo. And that was back when scientists were doing the British, oh, no, that couldn't, that's a native legend. It doesn't exist. Until around the year 2000 when National Geographic actually got photos of these monsters. And it was like, oh, nope, we knew it all along. Nope. We never said that.
That's too funny.
Backpedaling. Michelle Cox says, bipedalism expounds intelligence and encourages evolution. Worked on us. True, and they also have a much higher protein diet than most chimps. Most chimps are omnivorous. They will eat meat, but they eat bugs and bamboo shoots and plants and whatever they feel like eating at the time. But the Billy Apes are more primarily carnivorous. They will eat other things, but they've been known to hunt lions and other packs of apes and chimps. I mean, they're pretty aggressive and definitely dangerous.
Can you imagine the amount of aggression that they must have to hunt a lion?
Yeah.
I mean, you're in for a fight, even if they win.
Yeah, there's a lot of easier things to hunt than a lion.
Jim Berthold says, good morning from Scotland. Good morning, sir.
Hello, Scotland.
So we need to get Jim to howl for us and with a brogue.
There we go. Yeah, Jim, what does Scottish werewolf sound like? Do they howl with a brogue? We were sampling the Dogman ale, which is supposed to be a Scottish ale, and so we were wondering if werewolves howled with the brogue in Scotland.
We'll wait for your answer.
There we go.
He's going to send us an audio message.
There you go.
Martin Napier says, watch a mandrill walk. Very much so. Mandrills, they don't walk like humans.
Look too much like Gugway. I don't want to watch them.
Joseph LeBranch says, yeah, but the change of paws in the hands doesn't really make sense. The popping sound would probably be coming from the hips. Maybe you could be right. Again, I'm not an anatomist. It's just my kind of theory, my pet theory. But to me, it would make sense that the paws are being rearranged, but they could change the paws much like a gorilla changes the entire placement of its hand when it goes on all fours. It positions its knuckles so that it's really more like a front leg than a hand. And they've adapted that way. It could very well be something along those. It could be the hips popping. I don't know, but it made sense to me that the popping sound came from the hands. Steve, what are you laughing at?
Jim has an answer for us.
Yeah, Jim Berthold.
They sound like bagpipes.
That's what I was laughing at. I apologize.
That's all right.
Me too. I thought that was pretty good. Yeah.
I heard a joke. How do you get three bagpipers in tune together? You shoot two of them.
Yeah.
That's a joke, though. I do like pipe music.
Me too. I actually went and played at my funeral. That'll get them out of there fast.
Don't make me get half a horn in. Are you threatening Nightbot or the rest of us?
We need to find the other half of that horn for him.
Yeah, he at one night he was drinking mead. I think we're all drinking that night, but he was drinking mead, and he was drinking fairly rapidly, and he got half of his meat horn emptied, and he started to notice a little bit of a little fuzziness in his mentition there.
It's pretty potent
And,
mead.
so the excuse was he was a half horn in, and so of course we, being like 14-year-old children,
we all giggled.
Made it the joke the rest of the
night. We giggled.
It needs to be a T-shirt, really.
Yeah.
Hunting cryptids makes sense when you're half a horn in.
Sometimes the best discoveries, come from, adolescent humor. Like that taco joint I was telling you about that I ate at when I was on vacation.
Yeah, that's got an epic name.
Yeah, the Shady Taco. Yeah.
Again, pretty sure I dated her.
Yeah.
And I'm giggling like a 14-year-old. All right.
Oh my! My buddy and I was like, "We're gonna eat there because it's a Shady Taco," and it was amazing. So we ate there twice.
I think I've finally put my finger on what that Dogman Ale reminds me of. It reminds me of that Irish Red they have at Downing Street.
Oh, okay.
It tastes a lot like that.
Well, I was surprised you kept drinking it when you commented about how hoppy it was.
Well, it's not super hoppy. I don't really care for a hoppy beer. It's an ale though, so it's nowhere near a IPA, which to me is the man bun and skinny jeans of the beer world.
Well, you can have a pale ale that isn't quite that. Yeah, the IPAs are super hoppy. But I was at.
Remind me again what IPA means.
Indian Pale Ale.
Okay.
And so
they're pretty popular with a lot of folks. I don't like them because they're so very hoppy. About the only hoppy, and it's not even that hoppy beer that I really like, is German Hefeweizen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's pretty good.
They're they've got some hop to them. I was at the London Calling, the pasty place in the mall, and they have Old Speckled Hen there, which is an English pale ale. And it's not near as hoppy. I was, I got some because I just wanted to try it, and I was like, okay, I could drink that all day. So, because my wife looked at the bottle, she goes, I think it's kind of weird you're drinking a pale ale. I'm like, well, there's a bunch of different types, and this one isn't near as puckering.
I just don't like it. I don't like the way I don't like being buzzed. My head spins enough as it is. I don't like the taste of it. My tongue it revolts when I just don't like it. I don't like alcohol. There's something wrong with me, I'm sure, but I just don't like it.
No, there's nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong with that, I mean, I don't drink myself either. I might have like 3 or 4 little sips of something a year, but I had a question, guys. Where do you get mead from? I mean, do they actually sell them in liquor stores?
Some of them.
There's a lot of places that sell them.
Never seen it around here.
There's a place just outside of Springfield. I used to be a reserve patrol officer before my back was injured, out in a little town called Walnut Grove, Missouri.
Walnut Grove.
Ash Grove is just down the road. But I was a reserve patrolman in Walnut Grove. A beautiful little town of about 600 people. I mean, I could do an entire lap of the town in the patrol car in about 3 minutes. It's not much there, but there's a lot of history there, and I loved working out there. But just outside of that of Walnut Grove is a meadery, and every year they have a big Viking fest out there, and I haven't made it yet, and I really want to go.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Mead is what? It's made from fermenting honey and water, right?
Honey, among other things.
Wow.
Yeah. I just want to try it because I was always told that honey was one of 2 things that doesn't rot, chocolate being the other. I'm like, if you're able to ferment honey, that's impressive. I want to try.
They found honey in Egyptian tombs that was still edible.
Yeah,
it's wild.
I love honey. I actually have many times over the years considered beekeeping as a hobby, and especially when I learned my first husband was terrified of bees. But yeah,
no.
But
remind me not to piss you off.
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, speaking of half a horn in,
here he is.
Skull.
But
How we
I've
doing,
learned
guys?
over the years as I've kind of followed the industry is that more and more people are making more and more money by selling their honey to meateries. So,
Yeah.
but I had a coworker
support
who
that.
was, I had a coworker who was, what is it called? The Society for Creative Anachronisms. Is that correct?
The SCA. I was
And
involved with the SCA back in college, and actually, my wife and I went to SCA events when we were dating.
And the she made mead, and she was always going to bring me some so I could taste it, but she never did. And I to this day still don't know what mead tastes like.
Yeah, I gotta try
Probably
it.
wouldn't like it any better than I do any of the other stuff.
Northwood says
All right.
half a horn in might be fine if you're drinking, but not if you're a matador.
Oh Lord. Oh, that's amazing. Well,
guys, I have to say goodnight to all of you. Work duty calls, so I got to go to work in a few hours.
Oh no,
Nick, wear your
Good night,
Wild
Nick.
Hunt hoodie and see what they think.
Yeah.
I got to get a uniform actually, so
All right. Well, you have a good night. You be safe, man.
I'll put this over the top to keep warm.
There
All
you
right,
go.
guys. Good night, Steve, Naomi.
Nick,
Good
thanks for
night.
joining us, man.
Good night, Nick.
Here now.
Bye-bye.
Well, bye. Well, I need to drop off too, guys. Unfortunately, work and family both call right now. But I'm sorry, Josh. You know,
That's
my
all
world
right.
does not evolve around you.
God damn it.
Why did you
no.
wait so long to come and see us, Josh?
I kept debating it, and I was writing, and I was doing some other stuff, and I was like, well, shit, I might as well get on. But
How's the
Yeah.
writing
Yeah.
going?
not too bad. I'm getting there. Almost halfway.
Yeah, cool.
That's
I'd be a little further along, but I've been trying to do like rewrites and edits.
Yeah, I
Well,
tend to do
when you get
that.
the finished product, I look forward to reading it for sure.
Absolutely.
I will be one of the first ones to buy that SOB when it gets finished. So just let me know.
I appriciate it. Thank you
That's
so
what
much.
he's going to call it, by the way, that SOB.
Yeah, that SOB.
You know, I've been called worse.
I've been lucky enough to be one of the ones he's had Alpha read for him, and it's really good. You guys are gonna like it. It's pretty creepy.
That's awesome. That's cool
Hopefully.
stuff.
Just an FYI, I've been proven to be much worse, so don't feel bad.
I love it.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Night, Steve.
Thank you for having me as always. I had a blast, and I will catch you guys next time.
All right, brother. You be safe.
See you next week, Steve.
See you, buddy.
See you next week.
Bye-bye. I have no plans for publishing what I am writing. Why not? It's easy to do. I can walk you through the process.
It's not overly
It's-
difficult.
Very easy. Even this jackass can do it.
And
The
yet
hardest
I have
part, the hardest part is sitting down right where I'm at and opening that Word document and going.
I can do that, but I don't always get words.
Yeah, sometimes I'll text you and be like, "Okay, like the last 3 paragraphs don't make any sense. I think it's time for me to go to bed."
Yeah, when it
I
stops
hate when
making
I-
sense to you, it's time to go to bed.
I hate when I wake up the next morning after a long night of writing and I realize that everything I wrote was crap. I'm like, I wasted a whole night.
Hence, a lot of rewrites.
Hemingway once said, "Write drunk, edit sober." Tried that.
Yeah.
Didn't work out too well because I edited out a lot.
Is
Yeah.
Hemingway the one? I just heard this story, and I can't remember if it was him or not. We know him for his writing. There was so much more to his life, like being involved with the KGB, having like 7 wives, all kinds of crazy ass shit. You do a deep dive on Hemingway, you're like, wow, writing was like this much of his life.
Yeah, that dude did
He
a
was-
lot.
Quite an interesting character.
Interesting. I would say karma bit him in the ass a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. Hemingway it proves my theory that suicide is hereditary. I think that when a person kills themselves, they make it easier for generations following to do the same.
Yeah.
I would agree.
But definitely one of my favorite writers.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry, Naomi.
No, I was just babbling. I babble a lot.
We all tend to babble. I was going to say Northwoods, that's probably not an issue, as I will have some subtle connections in mind as well. I think DA, we've been talking about possibly having like a sub genre of like fan fiction in your world. Like that's a discussion we've had.
Yeah.
Northwoods was asking, he's worried about it because it's connected to your stuff. That's why he's worried.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that. I'm sure we can talk about that at some point. I do want to talk briefly about something that we're planning to be doing soon. Since some of you who are aware of me on Facebook, we recently launched the North American Dogman Project Region 2 group. I was asked to become the Region 2 director by the NADP, and I've been kind of jumping into that with both feet. It's not affecting my writing. It's not even something that really takes a whole lot of my time because it's really kind of plays into stuff I'm already doing anyway to research for backstories for books and everything. So it's really just kind of, I'm already doing this anyway. I might as well get involved with this. But something what we're planning on doing, and it'll probably be on Saturdays, is sometime before this show, we're probably going to do another one that's just an NADP weekly sightings report, that kind of thing. We haven't decided it'd be a hour show, however much material we have. And it'd probably be me and Josh and Naomi if she wants to jump in on it. And
sure.
we just talk about, cryptid sightings. And I don't want to limit it to just Dogman because it seems that sometimes when one cryptid is involved, others overlap. There's a lot of sightings of Bigfoot that a bit later on you find out Dogman was involved. So we're not going to limit our scope to just Dogman. We're going to be looking into any cryptid sightings in our area and how they could possibly relate to the NADP. So look for that coming soon.
Ohio came up a lot tonight and surprised me quite a bit. I'm literally a stone's throw away from Defiance. And, you got Hocking Hills and stuff down there that's just full of Bigfoot. And then we're already looking we just launched and we're already looking into a couple, or at least one encounter. So, yeah, it should be fun.
We just got a request from Papa Bear to play the video game promo. Ooh. Josh, you want to lead us into that before I plop it on?
Yeah, so matter of fact, that was something I was doing before the show tonight. I was working on the Kickstarter page, which we decided to delay. We were going to launch at the end of the year. We're going to actually delay it until about March. There are a lot of fiscal reasons for that. A lot of people tend to have some extra cash around March and April for certain reasons.
Can't imagine why.
Right? So, plus it gives us more time to have a much better and cleaner Kickstarter. So we at All Tower Media, my friend Adam and Matt, we're putting together some games set in DA's world. The first one being Watchtower 7, which is a standalone story, but does directly tie into his content. And then we will move forward from that, assuming it's successful and people enjoy it, into converting a lot of his books into video games, which we are very excited about. And we've seen a lot of like inside baseball in this too that Adam's pitched us, and there's some creepy stuff that he's shown us.
The cool thing about Watchtower 7 is a lot of people get killed by monsters, but for a while, I was a suspect.
We're going to lean into that too.
Awesome. That's going to be fun.
Do I get killed?
We got to find some way of working you in as well. There are some interesting places we could put you. We'll talk to you about it. Because we're also going to, leading up to that, now that we have time, we're going to try to put together an audio drama as kind of an advertisement for the Kickstarter, leading up to it, kind of a prequel to the game.
Cool.
Josh has also got an idea for something that we're going to work on as kind of a commercial that will play heavily into my British snob voice.
Working on the logistics of that one. That one may take a little bit, but we'll get there.
It's going to be fun.
Do you have any use for my... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no. I was going to say I'm going to go ahead and play the trailer, but go ahead.
I was just going to say, do you have any use for my Marvin, Martian, or Tigger voices?
Maybe.
Only two I do well.
I just wanted to answer Hooter real quick. I didn't go ahead and list the trailer name of the movie again. I would like to check it out, but I would like to say that the trailer that we have for the game only gives you about this much of what we're actually doing. I'll just drop some big spoilers here because we're just having a conversation. And what survives on the internet? Nothing. It all goes away once you turn it off, right?
Nothing's forever.
Yeah, sure.
You're going to be facing off two different types of cryptids who may or may not be facing off against themselves. There is a lot of secrets and clues. You'll be playing two different characters, bouncing between two different timelines, and trying to survive. There'll be multiple endings, and could be very fun. So I don't know if that continues to sound like the movie. Hopefully not. I have a bad habit of creating things that already exist. So let's see what happens. Go ahead.
Northwood says if Naomi gets killed in the game, barbecue sauce should play a part in it.
I agree. I totally 100% agree on that one.
Heck yeah. Sweet baby Ray's, baby. Oh, no,
right,
we got to do that sugar-free stuff. There we go.
No, I like shit for Sweet Baby Ray's.
All right. Yeah, do you want the spicy or regular kind?
Spicy, of course.
All right. Well, here goes the promo.
Beautiful bean footage.
Yeah.
Tower 7, come in. Come in, Tower 7. Tower 7, do you copy? Welcome to the wonderful life of Fire Lookout. My name's Alan. You must be Jeremiah. I'm just glad to hear anything but static. Last guy just up and quit. We're on our own for now.
What the hell is this? There's nothing like this on any of the maps.
Oh, thank God I got a hold of you. Listen. It's a kid. They're missing. When you look out at the forest at night, does it ever feel like it's looking back?
Yay! And that's the trailer, folks.
Cool.
Keller Williams and cashew chicken.
If you want, I can also bring up the preview of the Kickstarter that we're working on.
That'd be good. Meg says good night.
Good night, Meg.
Have a good night, Meg.
Give me a minute here to get it open. And then I'll switch into preview mode.
Okay.
We'll sit quietly and wait.
I mean,
well,
that happens a lot.
Actually, if you guys don't mind covering for me for just a minute, I am going to take a station identification break and get rid of some coffee. I will be right back.
Okie dokie.
Okay, sounds good.
Go do what you got to do. So, how's it going, Josh? Glad to see you here tonight.
It's going. Yeah. I'm glad to see you as well.
I recognized your voice on the game. That was cool.
Yeah, that was actually really fun. And what's cool, since we're doing a lot of things over like radio, because it's watchtowers, and I'm playing like the supervisor. I'm going to be at a different watchtower at a base location. We don't have to have like the best audio, which is great. Now, Matt will be doing the main character. One of the main characters, and then Dream will be doing another character. We've announced that before.
Cool.
But yeah, we're looking forward to it. I'm really excited.
Cool. Why don't you bring up that? Go for it.
Go ahead and kick it in. He hasn't given me host rights on this.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I'll
have
kick
to
it
talk
in.
to him about that. if you hit the little like diagonal arrows on the left above, yeah, there you go. Or
Actually, let me.
I could probably zoom in as well. That might help. Yeah, on the left side, like where our cameras are, there's like a little like diagonal arrow in the top right of that frame for the share.
There we go.
Make it full screen. And you know what? Let me just do this. That probably helps. Does that make it any bigger on the... Yeah, it does. Okay. All right, so this is the Kickstarter so far. We've got like the story here that we're talking about, but what I really wanted to talk about were the different pledges. The tier 1 pledge is $1. You'd be a park supporter. You'll get your name in the credits for just $1. For $10 or more, you'll get your name in the credits and a copy of the game. It will be on Steam. $20 or more, you'll get all of that plus early beta access. At $50 or more, you will get all of that beta access, and we have something else we're going to include in this. We're not quite sure yet. We're still working on the $50 tier. We're thinking maybe even alpha access before everyone else gets their beta access, and possibly a little bit more. But at $100, this is where the cool stuff starts kicking in. You get a copy of Codename Wild Hunt, and we're going to start introducing things like your likeness in the game, and you can be like an NPC character in the game. And at $500 or more, you're kind of like an angel investor at this point. We'll give you a fully voiced NPC in addition to everything else. Be heavily involved in the process and do all kinds of fun stuff.
Cool.
Patty says she'd like to be killed off as a game character.
Well,
Patty thinks like I do.
Do that. That won't be too terribly difficult to do.
And Papa Bear says, so watching the promo, my daughter during the roar said, "What's that?" Then jumped under my bed. Excuse, she doesn't want something to grab her.
He's got 4 daughters. I'm wondering which one of the 4 it was.
All of them at this point now.
Yeah. Well, the youngest is only a month old, so I know we can eliminate that one.
Maybe.
Yeah, true.
Josh, you okay? That half a horn go down wrong?
He found the other half a horn lodged in his throat.
Oh, Josh. No.
Oh, wow.
He got choked. Hope he's okay.
Anyway.
Patty says she'd like to be killed off as a game character. That's hilarious.
Yeah, you know, there's opportunities for that. These creatures are going to be killing a lot of people, so easy enough to do.
Mrs. Chef Yoda wants to know this is going to be released.
So that's really the question. See, if we're launching the Kickstarter around the springtime of next year, game development will probably take 6 months to a year, depending on any complications that we run into. I wouldn't expect the game to be released before the end of 2023.
Wow.
Well, it takes a lot to develop a game.
Especially with Adam pretty much doing the bulk of the work. And no, Miss Yoda, there is not a link to the Kickstarter just yet, because we're still working on it. Before I can launch a pre-launch page, I have to finish the whole layout, which was what I was working on earlier today before I started writing. We will probably launch the preview page either in December or January. We want to give people time to get some hype about it. We're also going to be working on the audio drama to go along with it as well.
Cool.
Things that you can do in the meantime, though, to assist in that is support this channel. The more you support this channel, some of that can trickle back to the game when necessary. Right. So until the Kickstarter goes live, just start pushing all that support DA's way.
Cool. It was Mika. She's the tall one. I have a short one, a tall one, a blonde one, and a baby.
Mrs. Chef Yoda says, awesome. It gives me time to get tired of my new game I just started playing. Well, it does give you a little time for that. Josh, this is the great time for us to talk to everybody about the Discord server. We can explain how the Discord server works. And it's completely free to join the Discord server, although you do get higher tier advantages if you're part of the Patreon community as well. But I'll have Josh bring up the Discord server and just show you how it works. It's pretty simple. Even I kind of figured it out, even though I'm still stumbling through part of it. But this is kind of a tutorial even for me because I kind of suck at it. But to just show you how easy the Discord server is to use. And we can continue the chats just like this. We can talk about, coming book covers. We can talk about novels that I have in the works. We can exchange ideas. And I ask a lot of questions in there for people to help out with, like character names and things like that. So, those are going to be cropping up a lot. Also, we're going to be doing some AMAs in there. And I think we're gonna see some awesome stuff coming, and you'll see it previewed in there. Also, the NADP Region 2, the NADP Region 2 has a section in there as well. So if you're interested in getting involved in some of the researching and the background of some of these cryptids, that would be the place to do it. Super chat $10, kill me off. Patty, you are so awesome.
She's crazy. I love it.
I love her.
All right. Well, D, if you want to snap my share up there on screen, on full screen, I can kind of go through it real quick.
There we go.
We currently have about, I would say, let's see, was that 46, 450, a little over 50 people in the Discord server currently. I'll do what I did last time. I'll just go like that, make it a little bit bigger. This is the main chat room here. A lot of people have recently joined. That's just the little emojis where people are saying. But there's a general chat room where people can talk about whatever they want. You'll notice names in here like Werewolf, Wolfman, Sal's in here. There are Sentinels in here. General Dalton. You'll see people from chat. Some use the same name, some don't. But we got areas to share like funny GIFs. We've got a place where you can self-promote your own stuff, which is great. Sal posted the link to his podcast. There's a spot for DA to do AMAs. There's discussion about books. So each of the books, people can talk about it in a spoil-free zone. You can just talk about whatever you want, which is great because sometimes people want to hold back because of spoilers. These rooms, you can just go nuts and theorize. DA jumps in all the time, takes suggestions, tells a little bit more about characters. Like right here, he dropped Logue will have a good role in Lakeview Man, Beast of Blanc Road. I mean, that's an exclusive just to Discord. There is a place for research and evidence. We're a spot for us to talk about the video games. And like he said, also, we just added NADP Region 2, where you'll be able to jump in and start discussing sightings, having chat, and then there's also Q&A in there if DA wants to jump in. But it's a great place because it's like a live chat room. It never really stops. You can set the notifications to whatever you want for different chat rooms, so you're always notified, or turn them all off completely. But it's awesome. DA hangs out here quite a bit. I do as well. Naoma jumps in all the time. DA has also been a part of my personal server, which is this one here, and he's that one's Norse pagan related, but it's a fun place. You've seen it. We have some really stupid ass,
and they've got a book club in there that's doing the Ragnarok Rising books.
Yep. They are doing the Awakening this month. Yeah, I suggested it, and they're like, "That sounds awesome. We need to do it." So that is the Discord, kind of in a nutshell. Like I said, I'm always around. I have it on my phone. I have it on my computer. I've got it on mine as well. So if you guys ever need any questions on how to use it or how to get in, let me know. And as DA stated, there's rooms exclusive just for patrons to have direct access to helping decide on book covers, helping decide on titles. Matter of fact, just 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had people deciding on a book title.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to, you guys are nuts in chat. You keep us mods watching chat very closely. And I love it because you guys have amazing discussions, but you can keep that going over there. In addition to being able to be involved in all of that, extra DA universe stuff as well.
Mrs. Jeff Yoda says, I'll give $50 to have Bigfoot give me a foot rub. I'm sure my husband would even give him a tip.
Wow.
I was always like, Bigfoot doing the foot rub. You want Thin Mint? Bigfoot got Thin Mint.
So the commands.
You want happy ending?
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's a bad turn.
That's for Dream.
Sorry, I couldn't help it. See, you brought Dream up, and that made me think of him. That's where I went.
Let's see if that pops up. I don't know if it'll enter chat or not.
One of the things we're going to be adding in the Discord, and I'm also going to be working it into the group on the Region 2 on Facebook, is we're working on doing a sighting report form. So if you or anybody you know has had a sighting, and it doesn't matter what cryptid it is, if it's any kind of cryptid at all, or even something they think was a cryptid, they fill that report out, and it's just got simple information like time, date, time of day, weather, whether it was overcast, just basic, your area surroundings that were surrounded the event, and then just a short area where you can fill it out and give us a verbal story of what happened. But we're going to have those available very soon.
Good night, Lanita.
Good night, Lanita.
Lanita with an N first and the T last. Lanita.
Yeah, I sent you a link because even though Nightbot refuses to speak tonight, it is also it's oppressing me.
Nightbot's not letting me post anything either. It gets the chat's not letting me post anything. I will try.
I thought at one time it was because every now and then I would write something in chat and then you couldn't use it later, but I haven't touched chat all night long, so I don't know.
It's not letting me post anything. I had to go to the YouTube to post it direct.
I'm going to try this just to see if it's favoring me.
It's going to work for you. Because it didn't work for me either.
What the heck?
I'm going to take Nightbot out.
Hey, it still likes you.
Yeah, it does. It likes me a lot.
Don't like the rest of us. Nightbot, you finicky thing.
Well, I'm removing Nightbot from the channel temporarily to see if that will stop the suppression.
See the violence inherent in the system. See the violence inherent in the system. Help him being repressed.
All right, go ahead and see if now you can post the link. Because no point telling people about Discord. They can't get in it.
Northwoods is going to bed too.
Night, Northwoods. Thanks for being here, man. It's not letting me post anything. And I don't think it's Nightbot.
Let me send it to Naoma.
How am I barred from posting on my own channel?
It knows you.
It knows me too well.
I'm going to post it in the Nightmare Hunter group.
It's like, I will silence him. Nightbot's on strike.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It was working great for a while, and then it just...
So you took him out behind the woodshed and shot him.
Well,
so what do you want me to do here?
Just copy that link.
Oh, that didn't work out for me.
Right-click on the link.
I know how to copy it. It just didn't work.
Oh, well, it's weird in Facebook Messenger. It's like you can't just copy it. You got to do like 3 steps to get it to copy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did bully Nightbot, Patty, 100% because it was being a jerk.
Let me do this.
Or Annette just tried to pull up the Patreon. It was like, nah, I'm done. New mod, who this?
And no.
There it is. Naoma can post all she wants.
Yeah, it likes me. I'm special.
I am going to venture a guess that it has something to do with the two of you sharing a login.
Maybe.
Where everything else seems to work, but chat's like, I'm only going to recognize one of you.
And it was recognizing me all night up until a few minutes ago.
And the second it stops recognizing you is when it says, well, Neoma's been cool. We're just going to recognize her instead.
Well, folks, one of the things we're doing with the Region 2 NADP is we're adding in our own little touch to it that Josh and Naoma are both helping me with. And this is the logo for it. we're kind of changing the Nightmare Hunter concept slightly, and this will reflect in the new book. It's called the Nightmare Hunter Project, and every one of you can get involved in that. That goes along. The Nightmare Hunter Project goes hand in hand with the NADP Region 2, taking sightings and accounts of cryptids all over the place, because I use those accounts to base the creatures' behaviors in the books. So you can very well help find the behaviors that can shape the books of the Nightmare Hunter and even in the other series for years to come. So you guys will very much be able to become part of the Nightmare Hunter Project.
That's right, Patty. I'm the nicest one.
Until she gets dark on you.
Hey, we got people joining Discord.
Woohoo!
Yay!
Thank you guys for joining the Discord server. Check it out and familiarize yourself with the stuff. And you'll probably see me popping in and out. Let me pop back in there here in a little bit tonight. Discord can be a lot of fun. I mean, we can talk about pretty much anything. You can ask me anything you want about the books. If it's a big secret, I'll probably give you a cryptic answer like, oh, that's a really good question, and then not say anything about it. But if you've always wondered about something like a certain character, or you want to know what the origin of one of these characters are, if you haven't read all the way through Apex Predator Horned Moon, don't ask about Gideon because it comes out. But anybody else is fair game. If you got any questions, I would love to answer them. And it's just kind of one of those chat places where we can hang out, much like we're doing tonight in the chat room, and just.
But anytime.
But anytime you can pop a question in there. It might take me a little bit to see it, depending on what's going on, or if it's one of those rare occasions when I actually get some sleep.
You can also tag us, and that will ping us and let us know.
Yeah, you could put @ and then the person's name.
But the Discord server is only as good as you guys make it.
Mrs. Chef Yoda says, "How do you get information on the Hunter Project?" Well, you can join the group on Facebook. Naoma, I will send you the link since it's not letting me post anything.
Are we kind of just blending the Nightmare Hunter Project with Region 2?
Very much so, yes.
Okay.
I will try to post it. See if it lets me.
Probably not.
Nope, it hates me. Okay, I will send it to Naoma.
I every time DA does anything with technology, I always picture Alan Grant from Jurassic Park just going, look, it hates me. It doesn't matter what I do, it hates me.
Patty, yes, Steve is on the Discord.
Yes, he is. We need to poke him to get on a little more often, but yeah.
There it is. Yay! But that's the NADP Region 2, also the Nightmare Hunter Project game. Not game. Sorry.
Coming soon.
Patty didn't just want to know that Steve is on Discord. She has questions about the sugar-free gummies. Now that's funny.
Very specific questions. The Nightmare Hunter Project is going to be very much a part of what Region 2 is involved. It will be involved in, and the Region 2 of NADP is technically the Midwest region of the United States, but by being part of the Nightmare Hunter Project, it extends far beyond that. You can be anywhere in the world and be part of the Nightmare Hunter Project, and because the Nightmare Hunter Project is involved with Region 2, that makes you a member of Region 2 by default, even though you're not necessarily in my region. So Nightmare Hunter Project allows us to open the scope up a lot farther. So if you're like our gentleman who's in Scotland, if you've got any stories or know anybody that's seen the gray man up in the mountains, we would love to hear about it, or big cat sightings. And the gentleman that was on before that everybody had such a good time with, Leon Haworth from England, the Dogman hunter from England, he's part of the Nightmare Hunter Project. And we're going to be seeing a lot of his videos popping up on that page, as well as input from him. And he's going to be back on the show, hopefully really soon. I got to get with him and see if we can work something out. I'd like to get him on for that show where Nick and I talk about my theories about Dogman and get his views on it as well.
Mrs. Chef Yoda joined the Discord group.
Woohoo! Awesome.
No, she hasn't joined. I'm telling her to join. She says she doesn't do Facebook.
It's not.
But
Facebook.
If she joins the Discord, she can keep up to date on the
She can get the same information that'll be posted in the Facebook group.
Yeah, so I'm telling her to join Discord so she can keep up with the Nightmare Hunter project.
Awesome sauce.
Absolutely. That's a good way to do it.
Well, there you go, Mrs. Chef Yoda. It's one of the tabs along the side, one of the rooms, I believe. I think.
Nice.
Oh boy, I hope I'm not lying.
I will pop in later after the show, but it takes my attention away too much from the show to be on Discord at the same time. I'm not a big multitasker when it comes to social media and being on the show. Although I do try to answer questions from time to time, but I end up confusing myself. And then I go to Josh. I'm like, how do I fix this?
It just hates me.
Computers suck, like Josh. Fix it. It's the computer's
there
fault.
It is. Okay. Sorry, I was distracted myself. Anyway, yeah, it's my pumpkin's getting close to popping, guys. I think around midnight, I'm going to say
okay.
Good night, sleep tight, pleasant dreams to you.
Probably be a good time for us all to wrap it up. Also, be watching, coming on to be available on Amazon soon, is we are going to have Nightmare Hunter Project notebooks. And we're also going to have the Region 2 notebooks, as well as a codename Wild Hunt notebook for keeping field journals and notes like that. Notes on like that. If you're going to be doing any research in your area, or if you just want to keep notes in a cool notebook, yeah, check those out because those will be available soon. Pretty sure that the Nightmare Hunter. I'm sorry, not the Nightmare Hunter. The codename Wild Hunt one should be available now.
I actually have a really special notebook coming to me this week.
Oh, yeah? What is it?
It's really cool. I don't know. Can I tell them about it?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
It says she's a sassy one.
We're going to have a lot more notebooks coming up because they're easy to make.
Cool.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to get mine.
I feel like we need to get some of the other ones in, like the Getting Tacos and some of these other goofball ones need to be notebooks.
You need to do one for me. I need to get my friend Bill to do a caricature of me and put she's a saucy one on it.
I still can't find the codename Wild Hunt notebook on Amazon.
Really?
Hey, she joined.
Yay.
She's in there, Miss Yoda.
Awesome.
Okie
All right.
I
she
cannot
was in
locate
before, but I don't think she was aware that we added the Nightmare or the Dogman project.
I hadn't clicked on that yet myself. I just clicked on it a few minutes ago.
All new stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of pages in there I haven't really explored completely.
That's okay. Like I was saying earlier, a lot of it has to do with the community. We as hosts and moderators can only do so much. Discord is very community driven. You guys are allowed to talk about whatever you want. I mean, try to keep it within the realm of the topic of the room that you're in. But that's why we have a general chat room. You can talk about what you had for dinner, your dog farting in the room, or I'm using
or Bigfoot farting on you and sending you to the ER.
I'm using real world examples from my other Discord. Just strange things that we talk about in the general chat room. How work sucks, and just it's a great place to decompress with friends.
I actually really love my job. My job doesn't suck.
I enjoy mine most days too. It's not too bad.
I can't honestly say that I've had a bad day yet where my job's concerned.
I mean, if I can get to the point where All Tower Media Creative Director is my new title, I'd be much happier.
I have the best job in the world. I get to hang out with you guys and everyone in chat.
Aww.
And I get to write stories and tell tall tales, and people read those, and I get to talk to people that have read them. And it's the greatest job in the world. It's the dream job I've wanted since I was a kid. And I'm very, very blessed to be able to tell those stories and spend time with all of you guys. And it's a dream come true for me.
Yeah, it would be really cool if there was. The only thing that would make it really better is if we had a little coffee shop that we could all hang out at together.
That would be
and
cool.
Sit around the table and.
Well, what's cool is,
and I would be Dorothy Parker.
Not to hammer a point further home, but the Discord server serves as a great virtual representation of that.
Yeah, and I agree with that, but it's not the same for us old folks,
100% agree with you that it is not the same. DA, is that showing live? Because I'm not seeing it on your author page yet.
Still says in review when I go to my...
Mine took like 3 days to get approved, so...
Wow.
Well, I've got to get the others uploaded.
I can show the cover of it if you want.
Yeah,
that way
please.
people can at least see what's coming up. Because
it's going to be called Codename Wild Hunt Field Journal.
Lauren in chat said she said just notebooks are her jam.
Awesome.
So you want to keep an eye on DA's page. He's going to be uploading a lot, and then look for the author Sightmaster Publications. That's all one word for Sightmaster. That's where a lot of ours are going to be uploaded. Let me see. Where is that? You got to give me a minute. You know how I am with my pictures.
No worries. Patty wants a sugar-free gummies notebook.
I think that's something I can do relatively easy. I've been wanting to make a very colorful one, and I think that's a good place to start.
I don't know. The sassy chicken one's pretty hilarious.
Sassy chicken one's great. I love it.
We need to get one of those and send it to Cam.
Yes. I have my cup. I use it in the kitchen, though, and I never remember to bring it in here at night. And it's so far down the hall.
All right, I'll share this. Oh, that's the Well, I got it up. I'll share Sassy Notebook real quick.
Okay. I need to share?
It's simple. Yeah, it's simple.
Oops, sorry. I keep pushing it, and you keep pushing it.
It's a simple design.
Raggy.
But notebooks are super simple. I prefer simplicity. But yeah, I thought it was fun. That's our sassy one. Give me just a moment here, and I'll try to remember where the hell yours is at. I got it here somewhere. I made it. I sent it to you, so it's here. Just talk amongst yourselves. I'll cut back.
Patty says, I want some coffee shine.
What?
Coffee shine? Putting moonshine in your coffee?
Lauren, I will send the link to that because that one is live. If you like that, I'll send that to Naoma so she can post that.
The chicken ate it.
She's the only one who can post anything. Still trying to find where I sent it to you. It's got to be somewhere.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, you know what? I think I know where it is.
We're also going to be having Nightmare Hunter Project and North American Dogman Project Region 2 hoodies and t-shirts available on the store soon.
Are you sending it to me?
Yeah, well, I'm just going to send the link. Yeah, give me one moment.
Okie dokie.
I got to actually pull it up.
Lauren Booth says they actually make pecan moonshine that tastes like coffee.
I like moonshine that tastes like, gas.
Wow. That's a choice.
Well, most moonshine does kind of have that faint taste.
I've had apple pie and blueberry pie moonshine that were so good. I mean, that's like sneak up on you good too. I
had a guy up not too far from where I used to live who actually you want the whole link?
Yeah. Just the link I sent you, yeah.
Okay.
That's the only way to, unless I go through something like a shorter. That's the whole link.
Sassy chicken.
Anyway, he made moonshine that had just a little bit of a lemony flavor to it. Not on purpose, but it just had a little bit of a lemony kick. It was nice. I liked it.
There you go, DA.
Alrighty, sir.
That is the cover for the Wild Hunt logo. Tried to make it look like it was actually pressed into leather as best we could.
I think it looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
It'd been cool if it'd been real leather, but when you're working with Amazon, you go with what you got.
Yeah.
And then we have the project Nightmare Hunter project and Nightmare Hunter logos coming up soon. Which you
Loran Booth says, my great uncle ran moonshine, had stills in the woods till he passed away recently in his 80s. Oh. I can understand that one. I've still got cousins up in Cleve County that still make it.
Shut up.
Yeah. But you can't swing a cat in Laclede County without hitting one of my cousins, so that doesn't narrow it down any.
That was on my mom's side, that was the family business till my last great uncle died.
They're revenuers.
Most families have photo albums full of pictures. I had photo albums full of my great grandpa being arrested again.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. We did. We actually had newspaper clippings of my great
Mark
grandfather.
Napier sent me a message. He said I had an idea for the gummy shirt. His gummies piled up where they look like a pile of poo and flies and smell coming off of them.
I think I can do that.
Little gummy bears.
And I just showed you one more image that we're going to turn into a notebook page, but I got to kind of rework it slightly because it's only a square image right now. That's one more we're going to do relatively soon.
You sent...
I shared it. Sorry. Sent
okay.
Wrong.
Okay.
I shared it for the screen share. If you want to. There you go. In space, no one can hear you bleat.
That's funny.
All right, I'm done sharing now.
Well, I'm going to be uploading this logo to a notebook, and hopefully that'll be available in the next few days. And the next one for that would be this one. And both of those logos will also be on hoodies and T-shirts before too terribly long. So we're excited about that. And if you notice the on this one, the Region 2, well, a little bit of the inspiration behind the wolf. I think you can, in the red, you can see the Wild Hunt logo peeking through a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole thing.
Bigfoot, oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
If a Bigfoot kills you in the woods, do you really die?
What happens in the woods stays in the woods.
All right.
You just turn into a Bigfoot.
I actually have big feet.
Not me. I'm a hobbit.
Oh, God, I am a hobbit, too. I'm short. I'm fat. Well, I'm stocky. No, I'm fat. I'm not going to lie. I'm fat. But the only thing that keeps me from being a hobbit is my feet aren't hairy. Thank God for that.
We dwarves are natural sprinters. Very dangerous over short distances.
Lorna says, going to have any long sleeve shirts. So right now we don't have any regular long sleeve shirts, which I can easily add to all of the listings. Mm-hmm. We do have hoodies. The reason I've kind of held off on the long sleeves is because they now have where you can do printed designs on the long sleeves. So I've been wanting to spitball with DA and Adam on what we could do on the long sleeves. But definitely hoodies are available right now on anything that's on DA store has a hoodie available.
Yeah. Mrs. Chef
so
Yoda
does Sassy
says,
Chicken on the All Tower Media.
There you go. Mrs. Chef Yoda says, what is your role going to be in the NADM project, North American Dogman project? I'm the director over the Midwest area. Basically, any reports that happen in the Midwest, and by extension, anywhere because of the Nightmare Hunter project, but any specific reports that come in anywhere in the Midwest are supposed to come through me. And it'll be up to me to either send somebody out to check it out or go check it out myself, which is going to be awesome.
To be clear, guys, my bones, if I'm big boned, have got to be the biggest bones on the planet. I'm just
not
saying.
Fat, a big boned.
I am really fat.
Papa Bear says, make sure those Hoosier come in fat kid size, 5X or bigger.
He means hoodies.
I believe they do.
Yeah, some of them come in pretty big. They fit me. So that's not an easy task.
Papa Bear, if you were thinking of buying Mama a present for Christmas, there's this really cool, she's a sassy one hoodie on All Tower Media.
Mark Napier says, I'm 6'6". I've been accused of being Bigfoot my whole life till I went bald.
Yeah, I don't know why my feet are so big. I'm only 5'4", but I have like the feet of a woman who's 5'10". Yeah, I scare
Mr.
people when
Eston
I leave
says-
tracks in the yard.
Esther Essen says, what about hats with the wolf logo? This logo?
Hats are going to be done. Adam and I need to make embroidery safe logos. So all of the shirts that the merch shop does, like screen print, so they don't have to be as safe, I guess. But when they do embroidery, it has to be done a certain way with limited transparency, limited colors, so it's not as complex. So we're reworking some of the images to be logos or hats.
Yeah, so there'll be hats and possibly even backpacks.
There's already 2 backpacks up on the store.
Yeah.
Which ones are they?
Is the Let's Get Tacos. That's one of my favorite shirts. But
I think
it's not Let's Get Tacos. We're getting tacos, isn't it?
Tacos, yeah. So DA's, I was gonna try to hack the link into the chat, but it's merchshop.d8roberts.net is his merch, because we can't send commands anymore.
Hang on a second. I might have that as one of the I do. Booyah!
And Meg's not in right now, but I want to apologize. The Codename Wild Hunt one is still not up yet, but it will be. It's eventually coming. The other backpack is, I don't remember. I just did it too. My brain is dumb. Hey, that link worked just fine. How come you're able to post?
He wasn't. It was me.
Oh, yeah. And then ours right now, if you want to look for any of our stuff, like the Sassy Chicken and some of our other stuff, if you go to find us on Facebook at All Tower Media, I literally just put a post for free shipping between now and the end of the year. Free Xmas, one word is the code. It also has a link for our merch store. So
keep that in mind, Papa Bear.
Just search All Tower Media on Facebook, and like I said, it's the first comment on there right now.
My ears are like just singing to me right now, guys. I really am going to have to call it a night.
Not a problem.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Naomi, thank you for being here. We'll go ahead and let you go, and probably going to go ahead and wrap up. So we appreciate you being here. You are awesome.
I know.
Get with me tomorrow, and we can bounce some ideas for those sighting reports.
Oh yeah, I'm in the middle of making one, but I have some questions. So
okay, yeah, get with me tomorrow sometime, and we'll iron that out and get that made into a usable PDF where they can click on it and fill it out with a computer. We can do both versions. We can do a version where they can print it out and fill it out, or one where they can fill it out on the computer. I think that would be have both of those available would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm making it in Adobe Acrobat, so
awesome.
Should be easy to convert, I think.
I need to get the full version of Adobe Acrobat. I don't have it. I've been using just the reader.
Yeah, I have more Adobe programs than I know how to use. And I really need to get better at Adobe Premiere, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. I got too much on my plate. But in the meantime, good night.
Good night.
You guys have a pleasant night, and it was good seeing you.
Absolutely.
Good seeing you too.
Bye, guys.
Good night, Naomi.
Good night, everybody.
I was going to tell you the other backpack, I figured it out, is the Nightmare Hunter backpack.
Woohoo!
It is available, and I will be doing a dark version of the Nightmare Hunter logo. Currently only, the dark logo with light shirts is up. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do dark shirts with a light logo probably tonight.
Okay. I will be buying one of those.
I'll probably be getting around to doing the NADP logo as well, since I'm going to be in the store.
Okay. That would be awesome. Thank you, man.
I don't have to write too much tonight because I wrote about 2,000 words this morning when I got home, and it was somehow coherent, even though I'd been up all night.
Well, I have the contact information for the gentleman that won the book. I'll be getting that mailed out to him. Well, tomorrow's Sunday, so the post office won't be open, so I'll probably mail that out Monday or Tuesday. Huh? What was that?
Excited too. I saw him in chat. He was like, "Yeah, I won. No way."
It's an awesome book. I'm gonna have to get a copy of that one myself. That's one of the ones I don't have, but I did get this one for myself, and it's signed by Ken Gerhard. That's going to be part of my collection. Let's see what he say. He says, "To DA, keep up the search. All the best, Ken Gerhard." Very cool. He's a really cool guy. I like him.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. And this, you see my my mead cup. It says, "I would like to rage." It's my D&D drinking cup.
Nice. Well, I finished off the first of the. I've got 2 of the Dogman ales, and I would definitely recommend it if you run into it somewhere. It's a good like Irish red style beer. I enjoyed
give it a shot. My issue with any beer lately or any alcohol besides mead, so I have allergic reaction.
That sucks. I've got a buddy that has the same problem. He doesn't. He has like a bad reaction if he drinks alcohol.
I start getting real red around the face and a little swollen. If I keep going, I turn into Hitch. You know, when he had the seafood.
I was going to say John Merrick, but we'll go with Hitch. More people would get the Hitch reference than they would John Merrick. It's the Elephant Man.
Oh yeah, almost, yeah. Oh man, but yeah, I got some things to do tonight. I want to do some writing. I want to get those shirts up. I did the promo image for our free shipping. Yeah,
I've been reworking the Operation, the Codename Wild Hunt Operation Lily story that I wrote for Cam Buckner's Dixie Cryptid channel. I've been reworking a little bit. I went back and kind of streamlined some of the scenes and added in some dialogue and fixed a couple of things I wasn't real happy about. And I'm gonna release that with a couple of other short stories that I wrote about Wild Hunt.
oh, cool, sweet.
So I'm going to bind it all in one, and it's just still going to be called. It's going to be called Codename Wild Hunt Operation Lily and Other Stories. So they'll be it'll probably be close in the ballpark of. I think the short stories are each 5,000 or 6,000 words by themselves. So it'll probably be close to 30,000 words when I'm all done. It's not going to be a full-size novel. It'll just be something to keep everybody's whistle wet until I get Lakeview Man 3 done, which hopefully that will be soon. We've already got a cover concept for the this book. I've got to get a final page count to add them. I think you guys will be pretty happy with the outcome. It's some stories that if you're in the Patreon, you've already read the stories because I published them on the Patreon, but they've been up there a couple of months now. So I think it's time to share them with everybody else. Hopefully you guys get a kick out of those, and those should be coming out very soon. It doesn't take much to finish that off once it's done and uploaded. And print books tend to get Kindle and print books tend to get approved by Amazon pretty quickly. So hopefully I'll get that one done maybe tomorrow, depending on it's supposed to storm tomorrow. So I'm not planning on going anywhere. So I should be able to get that wrapped up and page count to add them. We'll olive drab hoodies with Wild Hunt and US flag patches would be solid. Yeah,
I don't think
awesome.
I can do patches, but I might be able to do the print on the sleeve of the flag.
Yeah, I don't think it allows you to do patches on the sleeves. It'll have to check and see what they allow. That would be really cool.
Any patches, but I can do print. I'll look into that. Was something I want to do hoodies and long sleeve shirts with sleeve designs for all of the logos. So
you know what we should also do? Codename Wild Hunt team jerseys.
Oh yeah, jerseys are a thing now.
Jerseys are available now through Teespring, so maybe we might do team jerseys. Oh, a Nightmare Hunter Project team jersey.
Yeah,
that would rock.
Oh yeah,
here I am geeking out like a kid. Patty says, "I'll get you tequila for Christmas just so you see you puff up, Josh."
Or die. That's fine.
Anaphylaxis. What's that? Who cares? It's no big deal.
Lauren, we want to do the jerseys. We're both very excited about it, not only for the DA shop, but also All Tower Media. But it's a project. I looked into it. There's a lot of design involved. So it's not to say it's not going to happen. I need to look into. It's not as simple as throwing a logo on a shirt and going, there it is.
Do you think Adam would mind if I showed the concept for the cover?
Adam wouldn't mind. That's up to you.
All right, let's. Okay, who in the audience wants to see a quick preview of the concept for the new cover? It's not done yet, but this is the concept we're working with, and I kind of like it. So, would you guys like to see it? Hello?
I'm sure they would. I'm sure. Yeah, Lauren says, yeah, me.
All righty. Well, here it is. This is the again, it's the working concept. It's not a complete, but this is be looking for something very similar to this. With the title will be different because it's going to have and other stories on it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But be looking for this coming very soon.
This is the after hours show where you kind of get
a little preview once in a while.
Some minor changes have already been made to this, but this is the general idea.
Right. This is the concept.
So I want to ask you guys, if you throw it back up there for me real quick, sure. I want to ask chat. I know there's a handful of people here who have either bought a Codename Wild Hunt book or have at least seen them on the Amazon store. I'd like to tell you guys, this is a completely different artist who made this from the original ones. Did the new artist capture the feel of the series? We think so, but I'm curious if you guys believe so.
Yeah.
Does it feel like it just fits right in with the rest of them?
Yeah, there were a couple of things that I already talked about. I talked about with Adam that I wanted to change on this cover, but they're minor changes. They're nothing really huge. And he's already working on those. And I've got to get the back cover blurb ready. And since I'm going to have the other short stories in there, I'm going to have to alter what I was doing for the back cover blurb. I'm probably just going to say these are the untold stories of Codename Wild Hunt happening between the scenes, between the novels, and something along those lines. And there'll be 3 stories, 3 separate stories for you guys to check out and enjoy. Again, if you've been on the Patreon, you've probably already seen the other 2 stories, but there aren't that many many people on the Patreon yet, so only a handful of people have actually seen it.
I don't know if you want to, since we're showing stuff off.
Go ahead. You want to talk about that since you're working on it?
This here is oh wait.
What'd you do?
You
made it smaller.
I thought it was a window. And it was a screen. So this here is the map for the fantasy
God dang it,
series.
that's not what I meant to do.
This here is the map for the fantasy series that DA is working on. I have it on my vertical monitor, that's why it looks weird. Vertical monitors, if you do things a lot with the web or writing, I highly suggest it. But this is the map that we're working on for the fantasy series. So hopefully it looks good to you guys. I enjoyed making it. I need to get back at it, but I'm just showing all kinds of stuff. And I talked to Adam about the concept that you came up with, and we kind of spun off on it from my book cover. And he loved it, and he's working on that as well. I am the map. I am the map. I am the map. I am the map. Don't like the way background cryptid looks. Yeah.
That was one of my issues as well.
It was a stand-in, just like the darker military member that you can't see. It was a stand-in that's being developed as like a placeholder. We grabbed a quick asset out of the game, threw it into the cover just so DA could see the blocking of the characters.
Yeah, we're going to add textures to it and a few other things. I think you guys are going to like it.
Yeah. Yep. That was very early on image that was sent to DA, and steps have already been made to increase the quality.
But again, like he said, it was a placeholder. So, yeah, a lot of irons in the fire. That fantasy project that I'm working on, is going to be called, well, the first 3 books are going to be called the Blood and Redemption trilogy. And book 1 of that is called Heart of Iron, mainly because the main character is named Balkus Ironheart. Kind of think very like Tolkien, but leaning more toward Game of Thrones without the sex. It's more gritty than Tolkien, but I don't really do the whole George R.R. Martin weird fantasy trip. I do more hard fantasy, but the combat is very, very, very much my style. If you've read any of my Wild Hunt books or my Ragnarok books, you're going to recognize the elements of the combat, because the combat is fast, it's savage, and it's very, very nasty, and as combat is.
Have you ever done any reading of your story, of that story yet on here?
I have not.
I was going to pull it up if you want. I am half a horn in, and I don't do the greatest accent, but I could read a little bit of it if you want. It's up to you.
Yeah, why don't you do a couple of pages?
Yeah, we could go like where maybe like he gets to the door, just gets inside or something. Like, not too much.
Yeah. Or, until he's warming up by the fire or something like that.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Let's see if I can do this half lit. Hell, it might make it better. Might make my accents come off a little better. Where are you? I know. I'm trying to remember if you sent that to my Alltower account or my Gmail. Let's see. Covers, Trek Audio, more covers, Trek Audio, LBL, Joe Bald. Wow, we sent a lot of emails. Bet you it's in my Gmail. One moment. Working on it. Sorry, folks. I am the most organized person I have ever met. I'm organized.
That version of the cover we showed earlier before you start, Josh, that version of the cover we showed is just a mock-up. If you want to see more works in progress, cover concepts that we haven't even started on yet, and be able to decide, help influence which way these covers go, those are going to be in the Patreon. Depending on which tier of the Patreon you're involved in, they will be involved in helping to choose these covers. I wanted to show that as just kind of a little taste of what's coming in the Patreon, and that's the Patreon's going to be able to experience completed covers or to see multiple concepts and help decide which one we want. There's going to be a lot more involved in the Patreon, so that was just kind of a little taste of what's to come.
Would it be too hard just to send me a copy of it again?
No. Give me a second.
I can't seem to find it anywhere. I'm probably looking right at it and just be like, nah. We email a lot.
Yes, we do email a lot.
Yeah, just send it to the Alltower.
I'll just send it to your Facebook Messenger.
Oh, yeah, that's
quickest.
Fine. That's the easiest, actually. Then I can just read what you sent. I know it's buried in my phone somewhere because I've had that reader read it to me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm about to read. I don't have the best, I have an oversized tongue. I blame it on that. Plus, I've been drinking, so let's see how this goes. All right, opening that up. Yeah, I do have an app on my phone. If you download a PDF, a doc, or something like that, it is called, on Android, it's called, oh man, you probably can't see it. It's called @voice. It's the @ symbol with the word voice, and it looks like a megaphone. You just dump a document in there, and it'll read it to you with an AI voice. Now, it's an AI voice, not 100% perfect. they use any like slang or lingo, might get it wrong. But 9 times out of 10, you can understand the whole story. Like you'll hear the mistake and be like, all right, I know what that was supposed to be.
Microsoft Word will do that too. The newest version of Word. It's kind of funny to hear it say things because it doesn't really put a lot of inflection on stuff.
Right. I finally downloaded the desktop app, DA, reformatted everything and the way it's supposed to be, and writing has been so much easier. Okay. Let's see. Let's put this over here. We'll turn this on. Single page. I don't need my story up. Minimize that. Okay, here we go. Darkwater Endeavors presents Heart of Iron, Book 1, The Blood and Redemption Trilogy by D.A. Roberts. Chapter 1, Raging of the Storm. But not all men seek rest and peace. Some are born with the spirit of the storm in their blood. Robert E. Howard. Give me 1 second. I gotta make this a little bit bigger. My old eyes are not working as well. Sorry, folks. Had to make it a little bit bigger. All right. The snow was almost as blinding as the haggard dwarf made his way up the narrow trail. Visibility was reduced to a few feet, and only occasional glimpses of the rugged terrain around him. Carefully, he picked his way between the snow-covered boulders and icy footholds. He had long since given up on trying to ride his horse, deciding instead to lead the forlorn animal to shelter. Ice had formed in his beard and eyebrows as his face was beginning to turn blue in the cheeks. From the numbness in his fingers and toes, he knew that he didn't have long before the hypothermia set in and he would die. If they stopped moving, they would freeze to death in minutes. The nagging voice in the back of his head was telling him that he just needed to lie down, go to sleep. The logical part of his brain knew that that was suicide, but the voice kept calling to him. The weariness was creeping into his very bones. The snowstorm raged with savage intensity against the western slope of Ranganar Mountain, but the determined dwarf did his best to ignore it. Ranganar was a massive mountain of granite and other igneous rock formations that jutted up like a beacon out of the easternmost edge of the southern Rhinak mountain range. Ranganar towered above the mountains in the area, rising nearly 10,000 feet above its closest neighbor. Miracle Peak? Miracle Peak. It was also the seat of power for the dwarven kingdom of Miranor. I always say Miranor. Miranor. Right? Miranor? See, that's the thing about fantasy. Everyone has their own pronunciations for everything. Miranor. Even in the hottest summers, the snow-capped never left the crest. Weather was always a hazard on Ranganar. The struggling dwarf knew that the west gate of Miranor lay only short distance ahead. Despite the winter storm, he had dared the western slope because the north gate was already snowbound, and it would take almost 4 days to reach the south gate. With the current pace of the storm, the southern gate would be covered long before he could reach it, and it was imperative that he made it to Miranor as soon as possible. He couldn't wait until the spring thaw to make the attempt on the north gate. The wind redoubled its efforts, howling with the fury against the lone figure that dared to defy it. His buckskin gelding whinnied in protest as it stumbled on the ice, but he held the reins tightly. One false step, as they both would tumble down the side of the mountain and fall to their doom in the crevasse below. If that happened, they would never be found. Their battered and broken skeletons would litter the rocky chasms of Ranganar, forgotten and lost for all time. "Come on, you stupid beast," he bellowed, his voice faint against the storm. "Do you want to freeze to death out here?" Struggling, the unfortunate horse continued onward, ice clinging to its mane and tail. The poor thing's head was already hung low in reservation to its fate. The going became even more difficult as the visibility dropped to almost nothing. Just as he was beginning to despair for ever reaching the gate, A signal horn sounded above him. Then a gruff voice shouted in a dwarven tongue. Up here! Get yourself inside, double quick before the god-cursed storm takes ye. The weary traveler breathed a silent prayer to the dwarven gods for delivering him from the storm. You're fucking me up with these words, man. By Motskinir's beard.
It's straight out of Norse mythology, man.
I know some
Motsognir.
Motsognir's beard, sighed the dwarf in relief in his voice. Thanks be to the gods. Soon, the frozen traveler and the buckskin horse were safely within the gate. Inside, he could see the massive stone gates that stood poised to be shut. They were only open just enough to allow him to pass through. The torches in the entry were flickering in the howling gale that fought to penetrate deep into the mountain. Only the heavy iron-bound wooden doors at the far end of the large room held them at bay. Inside the chamber, there were arrow slits carved into the walls where defenders could fire from cover at anyone who attempted to force their way inside the gate. There were massive steel rings hammered into the walls with heavy chains attached, holding the last resort of the gate's defense mechanism. If an attacker were to force their way inside, the entire ceiling could be collapsed onto the gate to prevent anyone or anything from getting into the tunnels that led to the city below. 6 stout dwarven warriors, each wearing the livery of the King's Guard, were waiting as the newcomer knocked the ice from his cloak and stomped his feet to regain feeling. Although they didn't have their weapons drawn, every hand was resting comfortably close to the handles. The newcomer took careful note of the warrior's caution, but moved slowly to keep from provoking them. Thank ye, lads, said the ice-covered dwarf. I'd feared I weren't going to make it to that gate afore the cold took me. The guards relaxed a touch, but their hands never strayed from their weapons. You're welcome, said one guard. What brings you to Miranor? Trade, explained the dwarf, and visiting home. I'm Clan Ironheart. Lifting his clan insignia slowly from beneath his tunic, the guards glanced at it before relaxing. Apologies for the suspicion, said one of the guards. Them's troubled days we're living in. There's all kinds of unsavory folks about these days. I'd hear ya, replied the dwarf. You certain be too careful on the roads if you're planning on making it home again. Let's get your horse settled and get yourself by the fire, said another guard, gesturing at the side door that led out of the main chamber. It'd be forever in your debt, replied the dwarf of Clan Ironheart. Leading the horse to the stable just off the main corridor, a stable hand took the reins and led the miserable animal to a stall filled with hay and a water trough. I'll take good care of your horse. Let me do that again. I'll take good care of your horse, said the stable hand. Thank you, dwarf, said the dwarf. 2 of the guardsmen led the nearly frozen traveler into another side chamber where they had small barracks and a common room with the massive fireplace. The smells of cooking meats and baking breads were as welcome as the heat that put the fire out as the weary dwarf took in the room. You want me to go any further, or you want me to stop
that's
there?
Probably good.
Okay. Sorry, got a little muddled there at the end, as I myself am a little muddled.
I don't know who I would get to do the narration for that. It's going to have to be somebody that's got kind
Not
of
me.
I'm going to have to make a pronunciation guide.
Yeah. I realized I wanted to do it until I just did that, and then I realized I don't want to do this.
Maybe I should have done it.
Probably would have been hell. This is probably the one that you should do.
It's the one I know how to pronounce everything.
This is the one that you should do your own book.
I
mean, people are saying, that's half a horn coming in there. I guess I did okay for being kind of slaggard. Bit knackered.
Well, I'm glad everybody likes it. Yeah, that's...
I know. I've read quite a bit more than that, and I was like, oh, this is so good.
Lorraine Booth says yes. Pronunciation guide would be awesome. More authors need to include them. I will do that.
Yes, they do.
With with this fantasy novel, I will do that. It'll probably, the Kindle version will push it to the back of the book, but the print version will have it as footnotes. So I probably go back through and add in pronunciation guides as footnotes. Richie Evans says, "Is that your new book, DA?" That's one of them. That's the fantasy project I'm working on. It's called Heart of Iron. It's book 1 of the Blood and Redemption trilogy, and then there will be more books beyond that trilogy. But the trilogy sets up the world. It's a fantasy world called Valgard.
Chef Yoda says you should do a book, DA, and I've always thought you should do at least one, and I think this is the one you should do.
It would be a lot of fun. I've always wanted to try to talk my wife into doing it, doing books, because she used to, when we would take long trips, like, if we'd go, anywhere we went more than an hour away, she would read to me and the boys, and she does such a great job. And she just kind of blows me off when I tell her that. But I've often thought she should do some audiobooks because she would be really good at it.
Annette, do it.
Probably gonna get smacked when I go in there. What are you doing? Stop that. Tristan says, the horn is deep, brother." It's a big horn.
There's a reason I didn't go with the horn tonight, because I have to be able to set it down sometimes. Otherwise, I'm just slamming it back because I'm holding the horn the whole time.
Richie Evans says, "Sweet, I love it like J.R.R. Tolkien." Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that very much. I like to tell big stories, and even though the books are between 200 and 250 pages, the stories all connect. And much like the other series in my universe, the stories are all connected, and the fantasy universe will also connect. I have not revealed how yet, but the fantasy universe will also connect to the main universe.
I got a little tease of it. It's pretty sweet. Now, as a fan and as a friend, when I read this, because fantasy is my genre, I love his cryptid stuff. I got into it because of the zombie stuff. But I remember when he first sent it over to me, I was like a little kid cracking open Tolkien again, because not only was it fantasy, it was very DA. Like, he has a specific style. You guys all know this. You've read different books. He has a very specific style. So you have this fantasy that you're used to if you like fantasy and read it. But then you also have his take on it. And it's like, dude, I fucking love this.
Well,
so good.
That book is pushing 30,000 words. It's between 25 and 30,000 words. And I'm probably going to try to get that one. It's probably going to be a little bigger than the others. I would say this one, we're probably going to be closer to the 100,000 words. Each one of the Blood and Redemption will probably be in the 100,000 word category. So yeah, this is going to be an epic story.
Fantasy books tend to be a little on the higher end. Annette decided to say that she can't read, and I call bullshit. I throw a yellow flag on that play. Too much bullshit on the field. Mark says, that's the point of the horn, Josh. Yeah, I know, but you can see what I already did with just one glass and putting it down. I'm already jacked, and I've only been on like 20 minutes. Oh, man.
Well,
get to the point.
Josh is hammered, and we are kind of winding down. We're approaching the 3.5 hour mark. I want to thank everybody for hanging in there. We've still got quite a few people in the chat room hanging out and talking, even though it's just us kind of mangling stories and being goofballs. Neoma and Steve already had the good sense to go to bed. Again, appreciate you guys being here. Thank you guys so much for everything you guys do. These stories would never have gone anywhere without all of you guys. I love being able to hang out in the chat room, and this just feels like hanging out with friends. And it's one of the things I love the most about this experience with the AX Machina. It's just hanging out with friends and talking about books and talking about monsters and things that go bump in the night and the things that make me smile. And telling the occasional off-color joke is just kind of a bonus. Mrs. Chef Yoda says, "Who's your next guest?" Well, this coming Wednesday, we don't have a guest. Naomi and I are going to be doing the occult history of Halloween, going back pretty far. Richie Evans says, question, is they going to be audience vision because I suck at reading? Maybe. I would like to do like audio. I think he means audio.
Oh.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be getting those out on audio. I don't know whether I'll be doing it or be finding somebody else, but I think the fantasy project would be probably the one I do narrate if I do one of them at all. It would be a lot of fun. I've got to get a little bit better equipment than what I've got if I'm going to do an audio book, because I'm not like some of the big shows with a studio full of equipment. I've got a green screen and a mic and my computer, and that's pretty much it.
If you would like to see DA do a voice for one of his books, smash that super chat button and show your love in chat right now. I challenge everyone out there, hit the super chat button. I don't care if it's $1, $10, or $100. Send a little love his way. We got to get him set up with new equipment. He's doing voiceovers, possibly book chats. We got to get him set up. Don't listen to me. I'm drunk. Just do it anyway.
Josh, you kill me, man. Rainbow says, do you just plan on the Norse Pantheon or venture into others? I have a new project that is going to add another series. It's going to be called Project Olympus. And I think that the name alone kind of says that's not necessarily Norse. But it's a spin-off series of the codename Wild Hunt, but it's going to be in a different direction. That one's kind of what I'm referring to as contemporary sci-fi. It's set in modern times, but it's taking existing technology just a little farther, and we'll see where that takes us. So look for the first book of Project Olympus sometime probably in the spring. Richie Evans says, I know a guy on YouTube named My Name is BYF does Destiny 2. Awesome. Holy moly.
Very cool.
He sent out a challenge and everybody's doing it. Dresden, thank you, man. Mrs. Chef Yoda, you guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Put the gauntlet down. Yes, on audiobooks.
Yeah, I would definitely like to do it. I mean, I'm really interested in doing it, and I like being able to do stuff like this. I would love to be able to bring that audio book to life, because it's all my fantasy creation, and without a pronunciation key, nobody's going to know how half that crap's said. It's kind of like the guy that was going to be doing the Apex Predator books. He's like, I don't know how to pronounce any of these Native American names.
Homateo.
Hotametaneo.
Yep. I said the same thing. That's what I said.
Sort of, more or less.
It's like the Goonies. Booby trap. I said booty trap.
So now you're dating. There you go. That's what I said.
Oh, yeah. No, I love your books, but every once in a while I get to word and go, God, I fucking hate you. Damn words. Damn smart guy putting in big words with 12 syllables.
Mr. Chef Yoda says that's just it.
Not wrong.
It's a creation in your head, and no one can do it better than the creator. Well, thank you very much. It's something I hope to be doing in the very near future. But I've got a lot of projects, and if you guys have not seen the Patreon and the Discord, there's a lot going on over there. I've got the basic plots for the next 25 books lined up. I've got big plans. Richie says, I'll call you tomorrow while I smoke my brisket. Awesome. Save me some brisket.
Chef Yoda wants you to cut out the swear words, but I don't know if it would flow as well.
Well, is this kind of a hallmark? People, in a perfect world, no one would curse, but I write about a lot of military and law enforcement types, and I'm telling you, the cops might not curse so much when they're talking to the general public, but amongst themselves, we're like deep water sailors. And same thing with the military. Without the curse words, it just wouldn't be authentic.
As prior
so
military,
I will try to tone it back a bit. Yeah, you were in the Coast Guard, weren't you?
Yeah, man, out on the boat. If you didn't drop a cuss word every 3 words, they'd look at you funny and be like, "You okay? Did you go to church today? What happened?"
So I have kind of tried to trying to tone it back a little bit, but it's just kind of ingrained. It's part of who they are. You deal with high stressful situations where you're getting shot at all the time, and hey, dang it, doesn't really cut it.
Dang it, this stupid guy's eating my face.
Yeah.
Gosh darn it.
Yeah. So unfortunately, there's a certain amount of that's just part of the personalities. I have characters that don't curse. You'll notice Gideon almost never curses. It has to be pretty much dead on. The character of Spec 4 in the Ragnarok books didn't curse once in 10 books. So I have characters that don't do it. But there are others that is just very much part of who they are.
Well, I've always looked at it this way.
Jay Matoska doesn't curse.
I respect other people's opinions on it, but with me, when it comes to cursing, while I don't want my 12-year-old doing it at the same time, to me it's just another word. It's a society and cultural view on any word. We could have decided that supermarket is a bad word because we all collectively decided the taxes are a bad word. You know what I mean? Like, we all just collectively decided that's a curse word because it sounds rough, or the rough people were using it back in the day. So I'm less loose with it, but I respect other people's opinions about not wanting to hear it.
I worked with an officer who didn't curse. I mean, he was very religious, but whenever one of us would drop an F-bomb or something, he substituted the word junk, and he was junk. And it used to crack me up. But then I kind of pointed out to him one day, I'm like, even though you're not saying it, that's what you mean it as. So the intent is still kind of there. He's like, that's
it's just, again,
shut up,
you're
man.
Swapping words out.
Yeah.
It's a combination of sounds that come out of your mouth. It's not like you're casting a spell. I mean, if you say the right Latin words, you might summon Cthulhu, but
there you go. So I will try to limit it to where it's appropriate, but sometimes it's just the only word that fits, I think it's kind of part of who my characters are. Lorraine Booth says it's all about the intent. Yeah, you could say have a nice day and mean go F yourself, and literally I've done that.
Bless his heart.
Yeah, bless your heart. It's all about it. It's all about intent. You can say the kindest thing, but how you say it makes it far more sinister. Mr. Chef Yoda says, my friend swears like a sailor, but if I am in a car with my daughter, it's not comfortable to have her hear it, but I understand. Like I said, I will try to keep it to when appropriate. Beat me to it. Bless your heart. But I will try to keep it to when it's appropriate. But like I said, it's just ingrained in some of these characters because soldiers and cops do it. I mean, if you're in a room full of cops and they're not swearing, it's probably a funeral. It's especially amongst themselves.
They're so versatile words, though. They're like the Swiss Army of English language. You can use them for anything.
Yeah. Sometimes
so emotions.
Sometimes the appropriate use of a curse word applies an amount of relief that nothing else will. Sometimes it just expresses exactly how you feel.
Smack your finger with a hammer. I can guarantee you the F-bomb is going to feel a lot better than oh golly.
When I tried that real hot spicy barbecue sauce my kids talked me into trying up at Pappy's Barbecue in St. Louis, I think I invented some new words. I mean, I wasn't even speaking English at some point. I was making up new words. I was on fire. It's called hoodoo sauce. If you ever eat at Pappy's Barbecue in St. Louis, and I recommend that you go light on the hoodoo sauce because that stuff is hot. I mean, hot.
Give me some of that. Shit is gonna burn my ass later.
Yeah, you will regret it at 3 a.m. Trust me.
Did you know your heat pain receptors exist from here all the way to your ass, like all the way down? That's why you don't feel good, though. I don't know how else to say it, but that's why you don't feel good when you eat really hot stuff. Your body continues to feel that pain until it's gone.
Well, I started chewing that hoodoo sauce on some rib meat, and after about like the third chew, all I felt was pain. I didn't taste anything anymore. It was just pain. So it was brutal. So if you get a chance to try Pappy's barbecue, I recommend the mild sauce because it's really good. But the hoodoo sauce is just pain. And you're a glutton for punishment if you eat that.
Well, now I'm just hungry.
Yeah, I could go for something.
Frack is one of my favorite words. Richie said frack like in Battlestar. I love the word frack. I mean, again, it comes down to a tent. You might as well say the same thing, but you can get away with it in front of people a little bit more.
Well, folks, I appreciate you guys joining us tonight. We've had a heck of a good time. Josh is more than a little tipsy. Naomi and Steve, thank you for being here. Nick Valente, thank you for coming in tonight. And I definitely want to thank our guest, Ken Gerhard. Ken is an awesome guy. Hopefully have him back before too long. And I will get the prize book mailed out here. Like I said, tomorrow's Sunday, so I probably won't be able to mail it till Monday or Tuesday. We'll get that mailed out. Appreciate you guys joining us. I appreciate everything you guys do. Mark Napier says when you put something in your mouth and it burns like fire, your body is saying spit it out, and you ain't wrong. But again, I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate everything you guys do, all the support you guys have shown us. And thank you for supporting the channel and the books. And I've said it many times before, writing is a journey that we take together. And I want to thank every one of you for taking it with me. Because without the readers, there would be no point in having a writer. And without the writer, there's nothing for the readers to read. So it's every part of that puzzle is equally as important. And I thoroughly appreciate every one of you guys for taking this journey with me. So hope you guys have a wonderful night. And we will see you on Wednesday when we are discussing the history of Halloween. Y'all have a great night.
Thank you for joining us tonight on DAX Machina. If you ever have an encounter of your own that you wish to discuss, contact us at daroberts@daroberts.net. You can remain completely anonymous if you wish. Pull your covers up tight and keep a nightlight burning bright. Oh, and did you forget to lock your doors?
Yeah.